basketball games this year, but apparently we don't have enough money for that. And Frank, I think, would like me to mention it, to some of our listeners who go for the sports kind of thing, because maybe some kind of arrangement can be made so that we could broadcast more of the away basketball games than we presently have scheduled. I think there are only one or two on the schedule right now. So if anybody has any suggestions as to how we could make some money broadcast these, or if anybody would like to hear them, let us know, because there's a lot of planning involved in getting a hold of the money if we are to broadcast more than one or two of the away basketball games. And now, coming up on the time for the long-awaited pregame show, an interview by Mike Halpern with Frank Brown. And this is a pre-taped interview because Frank Brown is out of the field. Now here it is.
Welcoming you to another edition of the WSRN pregame huddle. And this week, since most of the team is injured, we couldn't get anyone to walk up the stairs. So my special guest will be Frank Brown, and we'll be discussing the last 4 years of Swarthmore football that we've been connected with in broadcasting, and sort of reliving for all you fans the highlights. And Frank, I guess I might as well start by asking you what really sticks in your mind over the last 4 years about certain games or about the teams in general.
Well, thanks, Mike. It's good to be on this end of the WSRN pregame microphones for a change. And I think the thing that would have to stick in my mind most was the championship team that we assembled for the 1965 and 1966 seasons. I think that the difficulty of putting together a good team at Swarthmore with all the other commitments that the players have is a considerable one, and we had a very, very good team, a very solid team in these 2 years. I think that this can be seen from most of the scores, because we did not run up the score against very many teams. Even if we were considerably better than they were, our style of play was such that we would only win the game by a couple of touchdowns, which made for exciting football. But good solid ball. We were in every game and won most of them.
Well, as I remember, back in 1965, when we just started to establish a winning football team, we beat Dickinson 16-12, and they were a very strong team, and it was mainly defense by Eric Blumberg and Joe Thornton in the line, and the incredible Streams forward fumble, which you might re-describe for us in somewhat less frenzied terms. This turned, I guess, the game and the season around, since Dickinson's only loss was to us.
That's right, Mike. We went up there as one touchdown underdogs, and they had scored rather early in the game to take a 6-0 lead when Dallas Winslow had run about 40 yards around end, and Winslow had given us fits for 3 years in a row. And we were fighting hard to get back in the game and were not moving at all until very late in the first quarter. Their halfback Katzenbach tried to turn the corner on his 40, and John Stewart hit him real hard. The ball popped out, and Wilbur took it in midair at the 43 and ran right down the sidelines. And everyone was just stunned, because all of a sudden it turned the game right around. We kicked the extra point, and we were leading 7-6, and we hung on to it the rest of the way.
Well, I remember Coach Elverson's comment right after the game, and he said to me, well, we practiced that all week, and I'm glad to see it worked in the game. But anyway, I think the next week against F&M we won 18-9. This is back in '65, and there, a fellow by the name of Dick Newman threw 2 option touchdown passes, and that's a real rarity in one game. you might describe Newman's style of play anyway, since he had a tremendous year that year. And
Right, 1965 was definitely the year of Dick Newman at Swarthmore. His style could, in one word, I guess, be described as elusive, as he was quite small by any football standards. I believe he only weighed about 165 pounds, but he was very quick, and he was able to give the tacklers the impression of him going to his right when he was heading to his left, and conversely. And he was a tremendous threat on the option. He tried 3 times during the course of the season and completed for 3 touchdowns, and you can't ask for too much more. He pretty much won the F&M game for us. As we'll describe shortly, he won the Haverford game for us at the end of the year. He was the team's leading rusher and was the man who really made the offense go that year. In the Haverford game at the end of the year, which we won 21-0 to win our first Middle Atlantic Conference Southern College Division crown in history, Newman was just outstanding as he broke the game, what had been a close 7-0 game, wide open with a 60-yard punt return towards the end of the third quarter. And I believe he scored the final touchdown as well. And he was a threat all year long on all the returns. I believe he was the best return man that we've seen in a Swarthmore uniform in the 4 years that we've been broadcasting.
yes, I think also what characterized these championship teams was a tremendous defensive effort. And I remember in '65 when we beat Ursinus 14-13, Dick Kamen made a tremendous tackle to save the game. He caught a man, on the 1-yard line.
Well, in this situation, Ursinus had been leading for virtually the entire game, and with 2.5 minutes to go, we finally took the lead on a touchdown and a dangerous 2-point conversion to lead 14-13, and from the spirit, one would have thought that at this point Swarthmore would have the game and Ursinus just dejectedly would give up, and such was not the case, because they quickly moved the ball in about 3 plays, 20 yards, and then from their 45-yard line, they sent one of their halfbacks around right in, and all of a sudden he was in the open, and he was 10 yards in front of any Swarthmore player. And Kamen somehow or other caught him on the 9-yard line, and then came a pretty good goal line stand in which they wound up yielding the ball on downs on the 23, in which we ran out the clock.
Well, also that year, we played a tough PMC team, and at the half, I think we were trailing 14-13. And the second half was an incredible display of offensive defense, if you can call it that. I just remember our linebackers, I think Stewart brought one back all the way, or very close to it, and we just overwhelmed them. It was a tremendous half for the Swarthmore team. I think even the year before against Ursinus, when we won 48-0, we weren't quite that devastating, although, it was that also was a very good all-around show. But do you think the Swarthmore defense ever looked better than that BMC game in the second half?
It's hard to say that they did, although they rivaled it in our junior year last year against Dickinson. We're in the rain and mud and quagmire and everything else that goes by the name of Clothier Fields. We blanked Dickinson 13-0. And in this game, they were held to approximately minus 20 yards on the ground and a net of 40. And until the reserves went in late in the game, their net yardage was negative. And this is quite a performance again. We might mention the name of John Stewart in this one, as he scored the winning touchdown on a blocked punt, recovering it in the end zone. And again, it was Blumberg and Thornton who combined to block that punt. I think that this game pretty much set the tune for the kind of team we had, because the center of the team was defense, and this was our strategy. Having won the opening toss in this game, we elected to kick off. And we did this, and we also kicked off at the start of the second half, the strategy being that we had full confidence in our defense, and we would hope to nail them deep in their territory and wait for them to make the mistake that would give us the game, and that's what happened.
Well, throughout the year, we had a strong defense, and actually we didn't allow more than 1 touchdown in any game during the season. But the offense started going when we played Ursinus. Rich Yeager, I believe, ran for 132 yards. And the next week, he went for 125, while Toby Frazier got 124, which is incredible from two backfield men in the same game. That's when we beat Muhlenberg 34-8, which was a very good offensive display.
Well, we might mention finally the Haverford series itself. Coming into this afternoon's ball game, Swarthmore has won in the last 3 years. They took a very close one at Swarthmore, 14-8 in our freshman year, in a game in which the temperature probably did not go above 20 degrees all day, and both teams were plagued by fumbles because no one could hold the ball at all. As we mentioned, we blanked the Fords 21-0 to win the title in 1965, and again in 1966 we won the title as we completely routed them 42-6. And now we come into this ball game, and it's a big question mark. They're out to revenge those defeats, and with Swarthmore now plagued by injuries, they are hardly as outclassed by us as they were in the last 2 years. I think we can look for quite a ball game. You always can against Haverford.
I agree, Frank. From the articles I've read, the spirit at that school has revived quite a bit, and they really identify with their football team. And as you mentioned, we have been struck down by injuries, whereas in the past we were very healthy. We have, let's see, about 7 guys who are playing their final game. Those involve John Somerton and Fred Montgomery, the co-captains, Chris King, a linebacker, Eric Blumberg, guard, and then Dexter Farley, who's putting in his first and last Haverford game, Bob Hope, and Dick McCurdy. And we might mention that McCurdy might be very important in this game, as figures to be a close one. And the field goal might be the difference. And Dick kicked our first field goal since I can remember. Do you have the exact data? But this year against F&M in the 23-20 win, which it was the difference, he kicked a field goal from the 18. And, well...
Dick also might have been the difference in the PMC game, as we would have gone to the locker room with a 16-14 lead at halftime instead of a 14-13 deficit, except that they disallowed a 37-yard field goal that they kicked because of offensive holding. And Dick kicked that one while he was quite ill with a virus. And this week he's healthy, maybe he'll kick one from 40.
I hope so, because it's the traditional big game, and right now we really have to be up for this one, because so far it's been a rough second half of the year. Do you have any other comments? This is your last chance on the pregame show.
No, I think I'll rest the rest of my voice for the play-by-play, Mike.
Okay. Well, this has been the WSRN pregame huddle, and the final one at that. Now, please stay tuned for Swarthmore football.
This is WSRN, Swarthmore College Radio, the voice of the Garnet on the road. Your dial is set for Swarthmore football on Radio 640.
This is WSRN, Swarthmore College Radio. And now, by the miracle of modern electronic communication, we bring you Frank Brown, direct from Haverford.
For the 4th straight year, WSRN brings you Swarthmore football. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Frank Brown, along with Mike Halpern and Steve Mellop, speaking to you from Walton Field at Haverford College in Haverford. It's raining right now, and we're all set to bring you this wet Swarthmore Haverford football game for a trophy point. Right now, Swarthmore is out on the field. Haverford has been taking its practice earlier and just retreated to the dryness of the locker room. Before we go any further with the description of the football game, those of you back at Swarthmore probably want to know what happened with the soccer game. We won that this morning 2-0. Jeff Mongulu scored 1 goal, and probably it was Pete Fraser who scored the other. This is unofficial. So Swarthmore has evened up the series with Haverford as far as the trophy points, 1-1. Going into this football game, Swarthmore has an overall record of 3-4, and that is also its conference record. Haverford is 1-5 overall, 1-4 in the conference, and yet, according to Dunkel points at any rate, Haverford has been established as a 1-point favorite in this game on the basis of Swarthmore's rather lackluster showings of the last 3 ball games. However, you can never tell in the Haverford-Swarthmore games. Anything goes in one of these ball games. And now, for the probable offensive starting lineup, here is Mike Halpern.
Thank you very much, Frank. Good afternoon. First for Haverford, at left end, number 86, Bill Bickley, a junior. At left tackle, number 51, Ed Sleeper, a junior. At left guard, number 60, Larry Root, a senior co-captain of the team. At center, number 52, Joe Boggs, a senior. At right guard, number 62, Jim Ritter, a senior and the other co-captain of the team. At right tackle, number 74, Jim Alcock, a senior. At right end, number 84, Ken Hicks, a sophomore. At quarterback, number 14, Dan Sack, a sophomore. At fullback, number 21, Sam Pareca, a senior. At slot back, number 20, Steve Badsell, a freshman. And at tailback, number 22, Pete Badsell, a senior. And for the Garnets, and this is the probable starting lineup, at left end, number 83, Taylor Cope, a junior. At left tackle, number 70, John Gorlick, a sophomore. At left guard, number 61, Eric Blumberg, a senior. At center, number 50, John Burton, freshman. At right guard, number 63, Joe Kelly, a sophomore. At right tackle, either number 77, John Loven, a sophomore, or number 51, Buck Buchanan, a junior. At right end, number 88, Dexter Farley, a senior. At left half, number 22, Chip Burton, sophomore. At fullback, number 87, Dick Heyman, a junior. At right half, number 23, Craig Martin, a sophomore. And finally, at quarterback, number 11, John Somerton, a co-captain of the team.
Okay, thanks, Mike. As I mentioned, it is raining not too hard at the moment, but very overcast, and I imagine we're going to have rain off and on all afternoon. I think a wet field will probably benefit the Garnets because, as Haverford undoubtedly knows from scouting us, we are weakest against the wide sweep, and it is going to be very hard for the Haverford runners to cut today. Going up the middle, Garnet has been reasonably successful against opponents all year, and that's the kind of play that'll work best on the wet field. Swarthmore has won the last 4 games in this series. Last year, the score was 42-6. That's Swarthmore. The year before it happened to 21-0, and the year before 14-8 at Swarthmore. Haverford is up for revenge. For Swarthmore, a season that started off in such promising fashion with a 52-6 victory over Dickinson has now seen just one disappointment and frustration after another, but a win here today will really make the whole season worthwhile. It will give the satisfaction of having a 500 year, and it's always nice to beat Haverford. I think, Mike, we might comment that as the players run through their drills, they look a bit more spirited than they have in the past couple of weeks.
Yes, Frank. I think also that's because it's very cold and very wet, and the only thing you can do is keep moving. But I hope the Garnet can get up for this game because the spirit has been kind of deflated the last few weeks. But the playing conditions are going to deteriorate very rapidly this afternoon as it's raining harder now. And we could see a very low-scoring, sort of grinded-out game, and this has not been characteristic of the Garnet play during the season. But I think a low-scoring game may be probable because of the fact that this is going to cut down on very wide sweeping plays, and we might see a lot of Dick Heyman today. What do you think?
Well, I think that you're exactly right. Dick has been looking better and better in one series where we scored just before halftime against BMC. Dick was devastating on his running. We just have not been running him that much. It's quite possible that we are going to be using him increasingly. Haverford is now on the field, as you can probably gather from the tremendous quantity of noise all around us. They were originally in bright red jerseys, but they switched in the locker room to their white, and they are now on the near sideline. According to the schedule, kickoff time is in 2 minutes, and I think we'll be getting underway just about that time.
Frank, I might mention we were discussing on the pre-game show about the importance of the field goal, and the first thing that happened for both teams when they came out was that their field goal man just started kicking them, and it could be a big factor if it is a low-scoring game. And you remember last year with weather like this when PMC down 7-6 and they kicked that one, maybe history will repeat itself. I mean, they missed it. Haverford is in white. You know, they practiced in red jerseys, and I was sort of hoping they'd come out with the red ones because with white jerseys in this weather, well, you won't be hearing too much about who did what for Haverford, but
Well, we'll be able to tell who the reserves are. The Swarthmore co-captain, John Summerton and Fred Montgomery, are going out to the middle of the field, and they're going to be overwhelmed by all the seniors on the Haverford football team who are going out. And let's see, there's 3, 6, 9 of them, including one of them who doesn't even appear on the roster, so maybe they drafted someone. And we're waiting for the toss of the coin. They're not going to introduce all the Haverford players, just the co-captains. Number 60 is Larry Root, and number 62, Jim Ritter. They're tossing the coin now. And Haverford wins the toss, elects to receive. Swarthmore chooses to defend. The goal is to our right. South goal. They're out getting ready for the kickoff. Haverford out first, and going back will be Pete Batzell, Sam Kareka, and John Gleason in the shallow. But now, ladies and gentlemen, before the kickoff, our national anthem. Into the press box. We'll do our best to keep you posted on the game. Nick McCurdy teeing the ball up for Swarthmore. He's one of 7 seniors playing their last game. John Summerton, Fred Montgomery, Chris King, Ed Lumber, Dexter Farley, McCurdy, and Bob Ho. Here's the kick by McCurdy, and the game is underway. It's coming down short for John Gleason on about the 15-yard line, and he is tackled rather quickly by Dexter Farley, number 88. And we'll see where they put the ball down. It's on the 30-yard line. First and 10 Haverford on the 30. And the yard markers are missing on the near sideline. John Summerton is in for Swarthmore in the defensive secondary for the first time in his Swarthmore career. Jansak, Haverford quarterback, looking over the defense, call signals. Hands up to Sam Tareka, fighting for some yardage. He goes over left tackle and gets perhaps a yard or two as the rain comes down harder than ever. And we'll call it a 3-yard gain, 2nd and 7 for Haverford on the 33-yard line. Summerton is in the secondary, along with Cope and Duffy Burns, as Lou Elverson's made a complete change on his defensive secondary. Jansack's call signals from the 33, 2nd and 7. Hands to Pete Patzell, drives over a good hole over left tackle, across the 35, and goes to about the 36-yard line. Tackle on the play by number 75, Ray Beck, who's also in the defense. We'll try to spot this new Swarthmore defense for you. Red Montgomery in there, corner linebacker, Dexter Farley at left end, Joe Kelly is one of the inside linebackers. Forts have a 3rd and 4 on the 36, Al Douglas in there. Sachs looks over the defense, call signals. Hands to Sam Tareka, breaks into the open, it's midfield, it's going to go all the way, it's into a 40, 30, 20, 10 and in down the right sideline. Sam Tareka going over right guard on a delay, and breaking into the open, goes all the way down the right sideline and scores on a 64-yard touchdown route. And the score is Haverford 6, Swarthmore 0. Haverford lining up to the extra point. Number 84, Ken Hicks, will hold, and the quarterback stands back. Who will kick? Ball is down, kick is up, and no good, wide to the left. So time is out on the field with 2 minutes gone in the ball game. 2 minutes 20 seconds gone in the score. Haverford 6, Swarthmore 0. Mike?
Not much you can say. He went over right tackle and cut to the sidelines, and he was gone, and nobody really had a shot at him the whole way. And that's a quick 6 points. That's all you can say. It seems to you to Pareka, I mean, he's fast, but he's not that fast where he just ran away from everybody. You know, he's no 9'5" sprinter.
Looks like he was stopping there. All of a sudden exploded out of there. I don't know what happened. Someone's missing a tackle. Okay, Haverford getting set now to kick off. And Bobby Clark drops it back to receive for Swarthmore. Along with Greg Martin. Kick is going to Dick Heyman on a short one. He takes it to 20, up to the 25, 30-yard line, and goes across the 35-yard line. And, well, they're going to put the ball down on the 34, 1st and 10, Swarthmore. Garner breaks quickly to the line of scrimmage. Summerton center. Taylor Cope puts out to the left side. Backfield tips to the right. John hands off to Bobby Clark. Trying to turn the right side. He's tackled in the backfield for a 1-yard loss.
Frank, on the play, Dick Heyman is limping. That could have a big effect on the Garnet offense. Dick is limping.
Summerton set at the line of scrimmage, looks over the defense backfield again into its right shift. John takes hand off to Clark, rolling to the left. He's going to run with the ball. And he is tackled across the 37-yard line, and about 38 tackled by Batzell, Steve Batzell, the freshman.
Frank, there you had a case where John had one man to beat, and he had a lot of room, and Batzell came up and made a good tackle.
Ball's now on the 37-yard line, 3rd down and 7 to go for Swarthmore. Garnet has sideline to the left, running room to the right. Cope splits out left. Summerton sets, goes back, lobs the pass out for Cope on the left side, and it's complete. No, he caught it out of bounds, across midfield. This is thrown a little bit too far to the left. So, Swarthmore Haverford, 25 Steve Battelle, and 21 Sam Pareca. If you're just tuning in, with 3 minutes gone into the game, and it's Haverford 6, Swarthmore nothing. Somerton standing back around his own 25-yard line to punt. Here's a snap from center, a little bit low. Somerton gets away, a good booming punt, bouncing down. It's going to be taken by Pareca. About the 25-yard line, and he's down quickly near the 30-yard line by the 88 Dexter Farley, also in there 61 Eric Blumberg. The yard line is 33, I believe. And first down, 10 to go for Haverford. Zach set, looks over the defense, call signals. Goes back, fumbles, snaps, ball is loose, and he is tackled for big loss by Fred Montgomery and Taylor Cope. We never found the handle on that. I think that we're liable to see a bit of that. It's sort of cool, and the ball is going to be very wet and slippery. Once again, a little bit wet out there now. Will be second down and about 16 to go from the 31-yard line for Haverford. Sack, set, call, signals. Long count pitches out to Pareca, trying to turn the right side, and he's going to be in trouble and racked up by a host of Garnet players.
Frank, on that play, Fred Montgomery played the outside linebacker position to perfection. He took out the interference and made the runner stop, and then the whole left side of the line came in and made the tackle. But very good play by Montgomery.
Haverford goes into punt formation, dropping back to Swarthmore. Taylor Cope, the high punt. Somerton waiting. Also, Cope takes it around the 25-yard line, goes up the right sideline to midfield. He's got running room and goes into Haverford territory, where he is tackled around about the 49 to 48-yard line. Tackle on the play by number 62, Jim Ritter. Swarthmore takes over on the Haverford 48. An excellent return by Cope. Garnet quickly to the line of scrimmage from the Haverford 48-yard line. Somerton calls signals, hands to Bobby Clark. He goes forward for perhaps a yard or two. And we'll give him a 1-yard gain, making it 2nd and 9 from the 47. Clark starting instead of Chip Burton, who has a bad ankle. Somerton calls signals, hands to Craig Martin. He's almost stopped for a loss, but the second effort goes forward to about the 45-yard line.
Craig did very well to not get thrown for a several-yard loss. He was hit immediately. He bounced off and kept going. I think John has passing room to his left, and Taylor Cope is in, and we might look for something there.
Somerton calls signals, hands to Bobby Clark. Tries to turn the right side and only goes for about a yard to the 44.5-yard line.
Frank, on that play, Dick Kingman sort of ran a circle pattern into the defensive backfield, and we may look for that later on in the game. It looked like he had some room.
Swarthmore has about a 4th and about 6 yards to go. Somerton goes into punt formation, standing around his own 44-yard line. Pareca and Steve Battelle back to receive. Kick is away, it's a high one, and Pareca lets it bounce, is rolling towards the goal line, and down by Swarthmore, by Craig Martin on about the 2-yard line. So we'll try to spot it for you, but very good hustle by Craig, and Pareca let it bounce without touching it. Craig downed it. Well, we'll call the ball on about the 4-yard line. The 8-yard line correction, so it'll be 1st and 10 Haverford deep in their territory.
Lots of luck, Frank, on picking out where the ball is. It's way down there anyway.
Back set at the line of scrimmage, called signal. Hands off to Pete Battelle. Drives over, right tackle. Goes straight out forward. Goes for 4 or 5 yards. played by Dexter Farley and Kevin Northrup, among others. And that one looked like somewhat of a busted play. Just a couple of backs ran into each other. It will be 2nd and 10 for Haverford from the 19-yard line. Sacks at the line of scrimmage. Call signal. Long count. The ragged start. Sacks starting to bootleg to the left, and he's tripped up by Fred Montgomery for about a 4 or 5 yard loss, but flags are down. People started a bit too early, Frank.
No, Frank, the Garnet has been overeager on several occasions. They've been getting back, but on that one, I think it was Joe Kelly fired off, and they called it. So it's 5 yards. I'll make it about, 2nd and 5?
That's right, from the 24-yard line. And we would have had them instead 3rd and 15 on the 14. So that penalty makes quite a bit of difference in the strategy. Haverford to the line of scrimmage at the 24-yard line. Their own 24. They lead 6-0. First quarter. Jan Sachs. Long signal pass to Barreca. Sam drives over left guard. Tackled by Taylor Cope and number 73, Jim Holland. After a pickup of about 3 yards. So it will be 3rd and 2. Ray Beck also in on that tackle. So it will be 3rd and 2 for Haverford. That's the 27-yard line. Big play for the Garnet to try to stop Sachs. Call signal pass to Pete Batzel. Goes over left tackle. Very, very near to the first down. Taylor Cope in there on the stop again. And they're going to call time for a measurement.
Buck Buchanan has come into the game for John Burton on the defensive line for Swarthmore. And it's a first down for Haverford. That's their 2nd straight first down, and they are moving now deep out of their own territory.
First 10 forwards on their own 29-yard line. Swarthmore defense trying to dig in. Summerton is the left cornerback, as I mentioned, playing defense for the first time at Swarthmore. That's John Houston now in the game. Zach, call signal from his 29. And Batzel, he breaks into the open momentarily, still on his feet as he goes across the 35-yard line, across the 40, into about the 45-yard line, tackled by Summerton, called on the 44, 1st and 10 Haverford.
Frank, the Garnet defense is split very wide on defense. They seem to have the tackle stacked up, and all these plays are going off tackle, and then the runner is cutting either in or out. It seems like there's big holes over the middle and to the sideline.
Forward to the line of scrimmage, the 44, 1st and 10, Sachs. Hands off to Batzel, who goes up the middle for about 3 yards. Our view of that play being blocked by an umbrella moving in front of the press box. The score is 6-0 Haverford, and we have about 5 minutes to go in the first quarter from Haverford. Ball is on the 47.5-yard line of Haverford's 2nd down. Handoff goes to Barreca, and he goes forward maybe 1 yard, falls forward. Ball's on the 48-yard line now. 3rd down, Mike.
Yeah, on that play, the fullback, it was a draw. He slipped right down. He got up and went for another 5, but the referee called that his knee had touched earlier. It's thundering, and it's going to get wetter and wetter this afternoon. Here's a big 3rd down play.
3rd and about 6 to go. The 48. Zach, back to pass, looking on the right side. He throws and he completes it to number 25, Steve Batzel, who was driven out of bounds immediately by John Summerton. A penalty flag is down on the play. That play is good enough for the first down, but hold everything. It's down on the Swarthmore 43-yard line.
goes back 15 yards to about the 32. Is that a good guess?
33, I think.
Well, all right.
We will repeat the soccer score. Swarthmore won this morning by a score of 2-0 with Moncule scoring 1 goal and unofficially Fraser on the second. Haverford to the line of scrimmage at 33. Now third and 21. Sack, called signal. Gives the Paracket trying to turn the right side, looking for running room, and he's brought down by John Summerton. And also Ray Beck after a gain of about 6 yards, I guess. Put it at the 39-yard line. It will be kicked this way. Dropping back for Swarthmore is Greg Martin. Kick is very bad. It's going to drop down around midfield, but it's taking a good bounce. But Swarthmore territory. It was a 31, but it was touched by number 60, Larry Root, back at the 37-yard line. Swarthmore takes over first and 10 on 37.
That was a weird play, Frank. The Garnet came close to blocking the kick. It was a short kick, and it bounced, and Root got in the way of it. It would have bounced another 10 yards in favor of Haverford, but he got his hand on it. So it's first and 10 for the Garnet. And there's a slight delay in the game as they get the football dried off. Is a good idea. They'll be alternating balls, I think, throughout the game. Haverford basically has a 5-3-3 defense as we look at it right now.
Summerton sets the line of scrimmage, called signal, hands to Bobby Park, trying to turn the right side, stripped up at the backfield, stumbles forward for a gain of about half a yard. Level called no gain. Second and 10 for Swarthmore. 37.5.
So far, the Garnet running attack hasn't gone anywhere, and Dick Kamen hasn't carried it, and Summerton has not thrown. And we might see either Kamen or a pass here in this situation.
Backfield slips to the right, Farley flips out to the right. Summerton goes back, Kamen blocks well from the pass is complete, and then to Farley. So it's incomplete as he loses it off his hand at the 45-yard line of Haverford.
Might say that Dexter didn't drop it. He was hit very hard as he caught the ball, and can't blame him for dropping that one.
Third and 9.5 for Swarthmore. On their own 37.5, Farley again with that to the right, Cope to the left. Summerton goes back looking to throw. Intended for Cope, incomplete. See if that cell breaks it up. Intel was doubly covered on that.
Taylor was shaking up on the play, and as he was free over the middle, and he's hurt too. Yeah, he's hurt. Taylor was free over the middle, but John threw the ball behind him, and Taylor bent back to try and get it and got clobbered. And it's a dangerous play for your flanker, and he's being helped off now.
Yeah, it's the left leg to start. Summerton dropping back to about his own 25 to punt. Kick is away, angling to the left side. Going to bounce down. Duffy Burns covering it. And stops it around the, I don't know, 36-yard line, 35 to 36-yard line of Haverford.
Craig Martin will be in the defensive backfield in place of Cope on this series. He'll be playing defensive safety in the middle. So we have an alignment back there, Duffy Burns, Craig Martin, and John Summerton, none of which were ever intended to play back there when the season started. So we'll see what happens.
First and 10 forward from about the 36-yard line. Sack. Ball signals. Going back to throw, looking over the middle. Craig long, and it's intercepted by Craig Martin. And he is tackled by number 84, Ken Hicks, who brings it down by one leg. But Martin has intercepted at about the 47-yard line, 48-yard line of Haverford.
Craig learns very rapidly. One play, one interception. As the pass was over the middle and Martin got in between the receiver and the ball, picked it off. So here the Garnet has a break. Summerton brings the team to the line of scrimmage.
Balls on the Haverford 48-yard line. Summerton calling signals, handing off to Clark. Goes over left guard, spinning, and goes forward to the midfield is the Swarthmore 47 where they lined up. It's now midfield. Pick up a screen. It will be 2nd and 7.
Fred Montgomery is in at right end for the Garnet in place of Farley.
Garnet set at midfield. Summerton goes back to throw and tennis to Frankfurt. Throws poorly and incomplete. Throwing low and couldn't have gotten that ball. That would have been good for a little gainer, right?
John will have to improve the accuracy of his passes as these receivers are free. He's just not connecting with them.
3rd and 7 for the Garnet from midfield. Going to the line of scrimmage, some call signals, rolling right, throws out on the right side, complete to Fred Montgomery. And Tarek tackles him for a loss back to the line of scrimmage. No gain on that play.
Frank, that was an interesting play. The Garnet shifted left for the first time this game, and Summerton looked to his right end, Montgomery, and there was just one man there, and Tareka made a good tackle and stopped the play. So with about 2 minutes to go in the first quarter, Summerton will fade back to punt here for the Garnet.
John standing back around the 38-yard line. Gets the kick away, and it's a beauty, angling up to the left side. And Burns covers it again. Starts to bounce backwards. Again, near the 30-yard line.
Take it 1st and 10 for the 4.
We'll call 1st and 10 Haverford on about the 30-yard line.
Kevin Northrop is now in a linebacker for Joe Kelly on the defense for the Garnet.
Back. Phone signal, hands to that cell, and he keeps driving the ball in the 2nd and 3rd effort. Well, finally being stopped at the gain of only about 2 yards, but he refused to go down. Finally tackled by Beck. Holland in the Swarthmore defensive line now.
It's a very strong run, Frank, as he was hit about 6 or 7 times pretty squarely. Good run. It's lightening up right now, and we may get better conditions.
Back. Ball timeout for Haverford. Looked like he was about to break. Got to the line of scrimmage. Time is out with 1 minute remaining unofficially in the first quarter. At the score, Haverford 6, Swarthmore 0. The rain has just about stopped. The skies are lightening up a little, although we can see lightning off in the distance in the direction of the field house here.
Joe Kelly has come back for the Garnet, replacing Northrop. And I think he probably just was out for a breather. Well, so far, Frank, except for the long run, it has boiled down to one of those games where you go 10 or 15 yards and punt, and then you hold the other team and they punt to you, and that's what happens in the rain. But we'll have to see if the Garnet can get some offense generated. Does Swarthmore have a first down in this game?
I don't think so. An absolute minimum of offense for Haverford, number 34 into the game, Jeff Myers. He replaces Keith Thatsell. It will be 2nd down, 8 to go for Haverford from approximately the 32-yard line. No yard line mark. It's almost impossible to tell exactly where the ball is. Haverford to the line of scrimmage. Sachs looks over the defense. Call signals and correctly. Tackler to the line of scrimmage. Gets an extra 4 or 5 yards before being stopped by Fred Montgomery. And that seems to be the end of the first quarter.
Frank, that was the same play that went for a touchdown earlier, and it looked like he had daylight again. But in that case, Jim Holland and Ray Beck, the linemen on the right side of the line, were able to pursue when he cut back to the left and tripped him up. But again, that cutback, the play off tackle on the left side, he cut back, he had a lot of room again. And if the lineman had not tripped him, slowed him up, a lot of room again. I think the Garnet will have to adjust to that play where the back cuts back off tackle.
For Haverford, Bob Heron brings into the game as Jim Alcock lifts off. And the ball is now on the 36-yard line of Haverford. And it's third and about 2 to go.
Taylor Coates come back in to play safety, and Craig Martin goes out, so I guess Taylor's all right.
We might mention that interception for Craig was second of the season, which is pretty good for a guy who's probably only seen about a dozen or so plays on defense this year. Third and 2 for Haverford. Sack, hands off to Perek, goes over the left tackle, and stopped by Douglas and Beck. I think just a little bit short of the first down, we'll see. Well, no, they're putting it down very close to the first down now, and they're going to measure.
Funny, that's the way things have been going for the Garnets. They had a safety blitz, really, on the left side, and handoff move from our left side, and the play moved to the Garnet right side. And, of course, the blitz does no good in that case. And it's a first down for Haverford. And they continue to grind out some yardage.
First and 10 for the Fords on the 38. And the Fords break to the line of scrimmage. The Garnet defense digs in. Zach, set over center. Looks over the defense, calls for Gilson. Hands off the center. They're running very well over right guard. For a moment he sees some daylight and goes to about the 46-yard line where it's a pickup of 9. Pickup of 8 or 9. It's on the 46.5-yard line, and that's again the same play on which he scored his touchdown. As Perek has the knack for getting the ball while he's going at full speed already. Alcock back in for the Ford. Second down and a yard and a half to go from the 46.5. Handoff goes to Myers. He goes for about a yard over right guard, but a flag goes down.
It's kind of against Haverford, illegal movement. And we'll see if the Garnet takes it.
Dex LaFoe made the tackle. I think the Garnet will take it because Haverford would otherwise have third and inches. And they are taking it. Call it second and about 7 for Haverford now. Ball on the 42-yard line. Or 41.5-yard line. Zach set at the line of scrimmage, calls the signal, throwing to the left, throwing out to the left, and it's incomplete as Steve Batzel dives for the ball. He claims he caught it, the referee says it was a trap. And you see that call a lot of times, Mike.
Yep, that's what they call a judgment call, and when you make one of those, half the people in the stands are going to be on half of them are going to sort of sit there quietly and whistle. So, it's a break for the Garnet.
Unofficially, we have 13 minutes remaining in the first half of this ball game. The score is Haverford 6, Swarthmore nothing. You're hearing it all on WSRN, the voice of the Garnet on the road. Sack to the line of scrimmage at the 41, third and 7. Goes back to the hands up to Perek. Perek goes over the midfield. Go all the way again, down the right sideline to the 10 and in for a touchdown. The identical play. As Perek goes down the right sideline for the second time in this ball game, and the score is now 12-0 Haverford. Not too much you can say on that one. Perek has been a thorn in our side all afternoon. And we'll see if the Fords are going for a 1-point conversion or a 2. They're lining up for 2. for 2 points. Sachs calls the signals, rolling right, throws into the end zone. Complete for a 2-point conversion to number 84, Ken Hicks. And so time is out on the field with approximately 13 minutes left in the first half, and the score Haverford 14, Swarthmore 0. Mike?
Doesn't look too good at this point. But I do have a question for you, Frank. On that series, you had Dick Kamen, Craig Martin, Bobby Clark, Eric Blumberg, etc., standing on the sidelines. Now, are they hurt, or what is the coach not playing them on defense, or what? Do you have any idea? Because it's just curious.
On some of them I do. I have no idea about Kamen except that he was limping earlier. As for Clark, he has a bad knee, and they have to drain a considerable amount of fluid out of it and shoot it full of Novocaine before he can play. And Blumberg just hasn't been playing ball. And I guess the coach decided he'd rather have someone in it with Tuckboy. Haverford set to kick off. Kick coming down on the left side to Mike O'Neill. Takes it at about the 20-yard line. Goes forward across the 30 to near the 40-yard line. And I believe he's across the 40. We'll call first and 10. Swarthmore on the 42-yard line. Garnett set at the line of scrimmage. Summers is throwing intended for Cove incomplete. Broken up by Steve Batzel. And it will be 2nd and 10 for the Garnets.
Hitting those guys just as they get the ball makes it very hard to catch.
Garnett set against the line of scrimmage. Summerton bends over center. Calls the signal. Rolling to his right. He's throwing out on the right side, and it is intercepted by Peralta. Down the left sideline to the 30, to the 20, 10, and down at about the 2-yard line. Finally tackled by Eric Blumberg and Bobby Clark. But it's 1st and goal for Haverford for past the 2 and 3 yard line.
Baraka almost had his another touchdown. Dick Kamen, by the way, was the guy who caught up with him.
Well, they say that where he went out of bounds was at the 9, so it's 1st and goal. Haverford from about the 9-yard line. Sachs rolls right, throws to Pete Batzel, and he goes in for the touchdown. And Batzel is wide open on the right side of the field. Flag down all over.
There was a touchdown on that play.
Okay, they were offsetting penalties, I believe. And Haverford leads 20-0 as they line up for the 2-point conversion. Sachs throws into the end zone and is incomplete. Intended for Batzel. So the score now with 11 minutes, 35 seconds left in the first half is Haverford 20, Swarthmore 0.
Well, Frank, on that one, Summerton on that pass play was intercepted. He looked around and he finally threw out to the right flat. He threw it right to the Haverford man, and he wasn't close to a Garnet receiver on the play, and it made it pretty easy. But I just hate to see here that Garnet lie down as they have been on occasion in the last few games, and it seems like they're pulling some of the same stunts again. And it's not a very enjoyable thing to watch because they're playing a Haverford team that's been beaten much worse than we have during the year, and yet Haverford's playing like this is a very big football game. Let's see if the Garnet can bounce back.
Ford set to kick off, and it's a short kick. Dick Kamen waiting for it to come down. He takes it around the 30-yard line, breaks the tackle, pulls forward to his 6-yard line or thereabouts.
William, 14, Pete Leslie, the first to get him out there.
Pete Les tackling him.
There goes the 4 deep back into the game.
And it looks like the ball's down on the 37, 1st and 10.
Frank, Dick didn't get one block on that kick return. Not one block. There wasn't a Garnet jersey on the ground on that play.
Somerton set at the line of scrimmage. Montgomery splits out to the right side. Handoff goes to Kamen up the middle. Running with power, he refuses to go down until he's gotten about 3 or 4 yards.
Once again, about 3 or 4 yards.
Caught a 3-yard gain to the 40 where it will be 2nd and 7. And Swarthmore has shown virtually no offense today and precious little defense. And we're going to need a turnabout. I would hope we would get it this last game of the season. Somerton looks over the defense, calls the signals, back to pass. Throws one over the middle long and almost intercepted by Steve Batzell. Intended for Craig Martin, and it was definitely overthrown and in and out of Batzell's arm. He had an easy interception there and is mad at himself.
You know, this reminds me of a situation when the Giants used to play the Colts and Connolly would go back with a heaven help us aerial and just loft it up and somebody pick it off. These are prayer passes right now.
3rd down, 7 to go for Swarthmore. Somerton on a quick count, pumps one, short, throwing long, and it's complete to Taylor Cope. He gets it at the 20, stays on his feet to the 10 and in for a touchdown for Swarthmore. It looked like that pass was going to be overthrown a little bit, but Cope caught it very nicely, bobbling it for about 10 yards, but he got it.
That's what you call an answer to a prayer. A very fine individual effort by Taylor as he had to really leg it to catch up with a good lead by John, good faking. And then he eluded the last man and went all the way for the touchdown.
Maybe this will fire them up on this 60-yard pass play, and we'll see if they line up for 1 or 2. It looks like they're going to line up for 1. Nate Way into Hall. Dick McCurdy as Craig Martin sprints off.
That's from the 10, that's from the Cody flying the football basketball.
High snap from center, the ball's placed down, kicks and good. Fantastic kick play.
A tremendous job by Nate Way and the holding. He got to stand up to get the ball, and then he brought it down. He put it down well enough for McCurdy to kick it right through there. Exceptional job by the holder, Nate Way, and McCurdy really had to check his timing to wait for it and then kick it. Very good play. That's as fine as you'll see by a kicker and a holder. So it's 20-7, Frank, and see what happens here. A lot of time left.
Right, it's up to the defense to stop him here in a couple of games. In the PMC game and in the Muhlenberg game, the offense seemed to get the job done at a couple of crucial moments, but then the defense folded, and that gave the opposition the momentum they needed to go on. It's hard to play come from behind football, and we don't want to be 3 touchdowns down behind again. McCarty sets the kickoff for the Garnet. The high end-over-end move taken around the 10-yard line by Batzell. To the 20, up the sideline, and running room goes across the 30-yard line, very near the 40. We'll call it on the 38, 1st and 10, tackle by Al Douglas, playing with that injured shoulder of his. And he's been playing very well considering his injury. Andy Weinstein in the game for the Garnet the first time in 4 games. Matter of fact, this is the first time in 4 games that he suited up, and now Pete Batzell limps off for Haverford. He doesn't seem to be too injured. To the 4th and 38-yard line. Sack flips over the defense. Call signals. Hands to the last man through, who fumbles. And Haverford retains possession. Sam Ferreca. And this time he stopped after a pickup of about 1 yard. 2nd down and 9 to go from the 39. This time we just get a chance to get going.
Frank, I think this is a very key defensive series. If the Garnet can fire up and hold them, it could change things a lot, but they've got to hit. They've got to hit.
Right, 11 minutes exactly left in the first half from Haverford. 20-7, Haverford leads. Sacks, call signals. And to Ferreca again. He goes down immediately, fumbles again. And own fumble. This time it's a 1-yard loss back to the original line of scrimmage, and it'll be 3rd and 10.
Frank, that's one of the hardest tackles we've seen in the last 4 games on that play. Somebody really got a shoulder in there. Good to see it.
Big play for the Garnet here as Haverford has a 3rd and a short 10. And the 38, sack, looking to throw. Finally gets a screen away, and let's see, it's incomplete. No, it was complete. Caught by number 34, Myers. For a big loss, Martin Myers was done with it to bat it down to the ground.
Now, Sachs was in a lot of trouble, and he meant to unload that one, and I guess the instinct of catching the football.
Ball back on the 32. Haverford back to punt. The kick is away, taken by Taylor Cope at the 40-yard line. Spinning, trying to find running room, and he gets about an extra 5 or 6 yards just on his own because he had no blocking.
It was a very fine return by Taylor. He had 5 guys on him, and he still got 5 yards out of it. So now the Garnet, which playing much sharper ball, takes over near midfield, isn't it, Frank? What, 47?
46-yard line of Swarthmore. 1st and 10 for the Garnet. Haverford calls the timeout to try to rally their defense, and it'd be nice for them to strike big on the first play here.
Frank, I think the Garnet seems to be, they ran to the line of scrimmage that time, and they ran back. I think maybe they're going to have a little bit more fire. Very wise timeout by Haverford. Sachs is limping a bit on the sidelines. Somebody had him around the ankles when he threw that ball. So we'll see what happens with that.
In the huddle, Eric Lumberg takes off his
Well, let's leave that out of this. All right.
And now the team looks fired up in the huddle. No question about it.
Let's see if they can do something here. Plenty of time left to do something.
Frank Byrne splits out to the left sideline. There's a lot of more running room to the right. As Dexter Farley splits out to the right backfield, shifts right. Martin goes into a slot. Sumner goes back, hands to Clark. He has running room. He goes across midfield into Haverford territory at about the 48-yard line. Tackled by number 73, Bill Hobson. That's a pickup of 5 or 6 yards. We'll call 2nd and 4 for the Garnet from the Haverford 48-yard line. Farley again split out to the right side. Martin in motion to the left. Craig gets the ball running to the left, and he's going to be stopped at the line of scrimmage, or maybe a 1-yard loss. Stacked up trying to turn the left side. Bill Bickley in on the tackle. I thought for a moment we might see the halfback option pass on that one.
I think we may see it very soon. I think that was his trial run.
Okay, they say he got back to the line of scrimmage, so it's 3rd down on the 48. Summerton hands to Martin, trying to turn the left side. He's down to the 45-yard line. Tackled by Bickley again over on the right side. 4th down and 1.5 for Swarthmore on the Haverford 45-yard line. Big play for the Garnet here. Burns goes off. Taylor Cope is in and left-handed as they're going for it. Sumner looks over the defense at the 45. Craig Martin moves off into the slot right. Handoff goes to Bobby Clark around the right side, and he stops very near the 1st down. I don't believe he has it. Time is out for a measurement. Ritter in on the tackle, also Root. They're bringing in the chains for the measurement, a crucial measurement.
Very, very close.
First down Swarthmore by about half an inch.
I think you're overestimating that. We didn't have that by half an inch. I think they had a blade of grass. That was incredible. Very, very close. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if John might go for a big play here. He's got a first down, and he's in Haverford territory.
On the 43-yard line, Summerton set over center, calls signals. Martin goes into slot right, fakes the handoff to Clark, setting, throwing over the middle, incomplete. Intended for Dexter Farley, broken up by Steve Batzel.
Frank, he had Craig Martin and Taylor Cope over on the middle and out near the right flank, and he threw to Farley coming from the right end over to the left side. I think if John pumps once more and looks back to the right sideline, he may have a man open.
We have 7 minutes, 50 seconds remaining in the first half. Haverford leads Swarthmore 27. Swarthmore has a 2nd and 10 on the Haverford 43-yard line. Summerton back to pass, pumps once, throwing long on the left side, incomplete. Intended for Taylor Cope, broken up by number 20, John Gleason. This was thrown a bit high. Third and 10 for Swarthmore from the 43-yard line. We have Martin, Kamen, and Clark still in the Swarthmore backfield, right to left. Summerton going back, right hand to Craig Martin. The ball is loose and fallen on by Summerton. As John went back, faked the pass, and tried to hand to Martin coming around him, but Craig never got the ball. And that ball is now back in Swarthmore territory at about the 46-yard line. 4th down, Swarthmore will have to punt. Bad break for the Garnet. Summerton drops back to near 30-yard line to punt. For Haverford, Sam Pereka drops back in single safety around his 15. Summerton gets a high, beautiful kick away. Pereka taking it about the 12-yard line to the 15, looking for running room. Trying to get a block, but he's tackled by Gorlick across the 20 at about the 22.
There's a penalty on the play, Frank, and it's a personal foul against Haverford, and they're going to bring it back. Personal foul against Haverford. They're talking to John Summerton. Let's see what the call is. The personal foul against Haverford was the first initial signal. Pretty complex situation though on 4th down. Let's see, I'm going to mark it off. 15 yards. Let's see, Frank, wasn't it on the 37, 38 now?
Looks like the 38-yard line. And
now it's 4th down again, but now it's 4th and about 5. Right?
yeah, that looks to be it.
Okay.
4th and 5 from the 38-yard line. Summerton calls signals.
You know,
And
Frank,
he's going back to punt again.
Frank, if he sees a little room, you know, he might take off, but they seem to be falling back for that.
He's in midfield now. Pereka waiting at the goal line. Here he goes, trying to turn to the right side. Breaks tackle of Heron, but he's driven out of bounds short of the first down. Back in the line of scrimmage at the 38 or 37-yard line. Haverford will take over on downs.
Well, obviously somebody was guessing with me on that play.
Yeah, Haverford didn't rush on that punt the way they normally would. They were deliberately staying wide to make sure that he wasn't able to turn the corner, and it worked as number 77, Heron, missed the tackle and forced John Crook to the outside. And so we'll be 1st and 10 Haverford on the 37-yard line. Zach sets, looks over defense. Hands to Pereka, tries to fight forward, but he gets only to the 38-yard line. Tackle on the play by number 51, Buck Buchanan, also 75, Ray Beck. Pickup of 1 on the play, it'll be 2nd and 9 from the 38. Clock is running with 6 minutes and 25 seconds left in the first half. Scores Haverford 20, Swarthmore 7. This is WSRN. across the 45-yard line. The ball is on the 46, where it will be 3rd and 1 for Haverford.
Let's go, boys! Let's go!
That's the play that we haven't stopped all afternoon, the Pareca run. Swarthmore digs in, big play, 3rd and 1 for Haverford from the 46-yard line. Handoff goes to Pareca, straight forward over the middle. I believe he has the first down. Very close. Well, they're going to measure again.
Frank, might mention that number 25, Steve Bassell, is flanked very wide to the left on these plays, and he's isolated with number 80, Duffy Burns, who has not played a great deal of defensive backfield this year. And we might look for sacks maybe to try and exploit that. But it probably won't be on this series because they were short.
Short by inches, with 4th and inches, and that 20-7 lead to protect. I believe they will play it same as punt. The punter is picked. Takes it back around his 34-yard line. The kick may have been deflected as the bounce is very well for Haverford, coming down around the 40-yard line and bouncing down to about the 30 or inside for Haverford. Guess I got 15 yards on that roll, Mike.
See if John goes to the air or tries to keep that ball on the ground, trying to establish a running game anyway.
Call 1st and 10 for the Garnet from about the 27 as Montgomery splits out to the right. Sideline left, running on right. Summerton running to his right. No one's free. He's going to bootleg the ball.
Nice.
Rigs into the opener on the right sideline and is finally driven out of bounds after a good gain. Ritter drives him out at about the 45-yard line, and that'll be a first down. Well, no, at about the 39. First and 10 Swarthmore. It's also 38 now. That's where he ran out of bounds, although he didn't stop until he got to about the 45. John sets him hands to Craig Martin, trying to turn to the left side. He's brought down hard by Bickley on the right side after he picks up about 2 yards.
Frank, that Craig Martin sweep to the left side is not working very well because the forwards are reacting quickly and closing it up. I think if Craig would unload one, they may be coming up too quickly, but we'll see.
Clock is running with 4:30 remaining in the half. It's 2nd and 8 for Swarthmore from his own 40-yard line. Summerton set, 10 to Martin, trying to turn the left side again, waiting for his block. Falls forward for about 2 more yards from the 42. That's still in there to help trip him up.
Frank, Dick Kamen is definitely hobbling, and Andy Weinstein is going to come in for him at fullback as Dick is hurt.
Third down for Swarthmore. Handoff. Craig Martin on the left side, and he is racked up for a loss of about 1 yard near the sideline. Couldn't find any running room or any blocking. 4th down for Swarthmore in a punting situation again. Steve Bassell and Sam Pareca dropping back.
Frank, they're going to go for it. Come on, hurry up, fellas, because Haverford was back, but it's a long count by the Garnet.
Summerton set. He's rolling to his right. Throw down on the right side. Incomplete, overthrown. Intended for Craig Martin, who was open.
Yes, Craig was wide open down around the Haverford 43. He was wide open. He had a long gainer or a touchdown, and John overshot him. Delivered it a little too quickly, a little too hard. And bad break for the Garnet, as it was a very good call, and it worked. But Johnny overthrew him.
So Haverford takes over first and on the Swarthmore 45-yard line. Clock moving with 2 and 3.5 minutes remaining in the half. Sack, hands to Pareka, drives forward. Loman brings him down after a gain of about 3 yards.
Number 15, Henry O'Karma, is in for John Summerlin, a defensive halfback for the Garnet now. Frank, I think Sachs has not thrown in quite a while, and when he has thrown, he's thrown very short. He may come up with a pretty long pass pattern somewhere in here. He hasn't been throwing too much, but we'll see.
3rd and about 7 from the 42-yard line. Sachs hands off to Jeff Myers. Breaks into the open on the right side. He's 30 and down finally out of bounds at around the 25-yard line or inside that. And that's a first down Haverford. Call the yard line about the 26, I think. Your guess is as good as mine. We have 1 minute left in the first half now, according to the scoreboard clock, which is unofficial. Sack, send over center, call signal.
Oh, there it is.
Back to throw, throwing long on the left side. Complete for a touchdown to number 86, Phil Bickley.
Frank, as I mentioned earlier, they had the flanker isolated on Duffy Burns, and there was a good play-action fake by Sachs. He threw a perfect pass to him for a touchdown. And I think we could see that one coming.
Okay, with 55 seconds left in the first half, Haverford takes a 26-7 lead. And we'll see how they line up for the conversion. They're going to go for 2 again. Batsell in the slot left. Steve Batsell. Sachs goes back. Rolling left, looking to throw. Throws all alone. Pin Hicks. No one near him as he was waving for the ball. Sachs saw him. Threaded the needle right to him. And Haverford leads 28-7.
Haverford's playing football. That's all there is to it. I really wonder, Dick Heyman is in on the kick return team. I wonder if they're risking serious injury in terms of he is limping kind of heavily, Frank.
I don't know, Dick seems to be always playing with injuries. Maybe they're just getting the idea that he can't be seriously hurt and is always getting hurt otherwise, but he's not limping quite as badly as before. And you know Dick is going to play whenever he can. Heyman takes his kickoff back around the 22-yard line, straight up the middle, and trips up near the 30-yard line. Caught on the 31st and 10 Swarthmore. Heyman wanted that ball. If he went back about 8 yards to get it, Martin could have taken it also, but Heyman wanted it.
Dick is a real competitor, and I know he feels pretty badly that he's not playing defense today because they sure need him.
First and 10 for the Garnet. Backfield sits to the right as Heyman is in at fullback. Heyman blocking for Summerton as he throws across the middle, intended for Taylor Cope. No good. Wide to the right, broken up by Steve Batsell. But if that ball had thrown to the left, Taylor might have had it.
Now, Johnny hasn't been real accurate in his throwing so far today, and for the Garnet to pick up any steam, he's going to have to get him on the nose. Haverford now has 4 defensive halfbacks back. so they're pretty well spread out. And John's going to have to be careful about where he throws his football.
2nd and 10 for the Garnet. Somerton straight back to pass. Throws on the right side, complete to Dick Kamen. Trying to break free on the sideline to get pressed 5 yards before driven out of bounds.
Frank, on that play, Craig Martin faked his block on the lineman and sort of nudged out in the right flat. Everybody else was over on the left side. Craig was all alone on the right, and there wasn't anybody on the whole side of the field. If John had flipped back to him, it was a touchdown. So I hope Craig maybe told him on that one. Maybe it's not in the playbook, but it'll work.
3rd down, perhaps 5 to go for Swarthmore. Somerton back to throw. On the right side, it's complete on the sideline for Taylor Cope. And he crumbles the ball out of bounds. And let's see, are they going to call it a complete pass and a fumble out? Yes, they are. So it's 1st and 10 Swarthmore near midfield. As they're in Haverford territory at the 46. 1st and 10 Swarthmore. The official clock says, or the unofficial scoreboard clock says 2 seconds left. Somerton looks over the defense at the 46-yard line. Again, straight back to pass. Lobs it out on the left side. Cope has it again. It's the 35. And tackled immediately. He goes out of bounds, stopping the clock. And the clock on the scoreboard says no time. It's another 1st down, Swarthmore on the 35-yard line of Haverford. Swarthmore trying desperately to get on the scoreboard one more time before the half. At the moment, it's Haverford 28, Swarthmore 7. And we're just about at halftime at Haverford. Somerton looks over the defense at the 35, back to pass. Rush is put on. It's Lawton, and he's not going to be able to get the pass away. It's driven out of bounds. Back at about the 44-yard line. And that's a 9-yard loss.
I think John did a wise thing. There's nothing he could do except out of bounds, stop the clock, because he couldn't throw it. It was off balance going to his left. But it's a long way to go to that goal line right now.
Garnet set with Montgomery splitting out to the right on the 44-yard line. Somerton on a fake, hands up to Dick Kamen, drives up the middle, across the 35-yard line down to the 33, and that's the end of the first half with a score, Haverford 28, Swarthmore 7. And I don't know, maybe it's not a good thing to say, but it just occurred to me that was the halftime score down to John Hopkins, too. And I hope that we're going to come out with a little better second half here. It would have been nice if they could have got one more touchdown before the half. But Mike, it's just Haverford playing solid football, just playing harder and wanting that ball game.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Their backs have cut very sharply. I think that's been the decisive factor, the ability of their backs to cut back sharply after going by the line of scrimmage and then going right through the Swarthmore secondary. But so far, Haverford shown good execution, and they've shown a lot of spirit. The Garnet has been fighting much harder here in the second quarter, but they have a long way to go, and we'll have to see in the second half whether they can go out and score a few touchdowns in a hurry and get back in the football game. Needless to say, this is a happy Haverford crowd right now. Pretty good attendance considering the dismal conditions under which the game started, but now it's clearing up considerably, and we should have pretty good weather for the second half. Frank, do you have any recap of the major events for the first half?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. Haverford started the scoring really on the first series of the game as they scored with only 2 minutes 20 seconds gone on a 64-yard run up the right sideline by Sam Pereka. That capped a 70-yard drive in 3 plays. Then that was the end of the scoring until the second quarter, where with 13 minutes 35 seconds remaining in the first half, it was Pereka again on down the right sideline on a 58-yard run, capping a 72-yard drive in 6 plays. And they got a 2-point conversion on this one pass from Sachs to Ken Hicks. And so we might mention that a kick after the first one by Sachs was wide. Third touchdown was also Haverford upping their lead to 20-0 as Sam Parecka intercepted a pass, ran it back to the 7-yard line, and on the first play thereafter, Sachs hit Steve Batzel on the right side all alone for a touchdown. This was with 12:15 left in the half. 50 seconds later, Swarthmore finally got on the scoreboard as Taylor Cope caught a 60-yard pass from Somerton, capping a 63-yard drive in 3 plays. McCurdy kicked the extra point, and the score was 20 for Haverford, 7 for Swarthmore. Garnet defense held, and it looked like there was going to be a chance for Swarthmore to get back, but the offense could not come up with a big play when it needed to. And Haverford scored one more time with 55 seconds left in the first half on a 26-yard pass, Jen Sachs to Bill Bickley, which capped a 45-yard drive in 3 plays that got a 2-point conversion, Sachs to Bix. And we might mention that last 45-yard drive was set up when Swarthmore tried to go for it with a 4th and about 7 to go on their own 45-yard line, and they had Craig Martin wide open, but Somerton overthrew him. And the key is the execution, especially on that Parecka play. Haverford has been making the blocks, opening up the holes for their runners. Swarthmore hasn't been blocking really well, and Somerton's passing has been quite erratic. And we're going to need a change of pace on both those aspects in the second half.
Right now we have a rather unique halftime show. The Haverford marching band, such as it is, out of uniform, and they're putting on little skit boards too. Frank, is there anything else we have on this bad situation so far?
No, just might mention that the rain finally has stopped. It's raking the clouds. Now we're going to send it back to the studio for some halftime music or whatever else George has for you. We'll have halftime statistics when we get back. So this wraps up WSRN's first half coverage of the ball game with the score Haverford 28, Swarthmore 7. We'll be back in 10 minutes.
You just heard the first half of the Haverford-Swarthmore game, brought to you by Frank Brown from Haverford College. We'll be bringing you the second half in about 9 minutes from now. And in between, we're going to have a little bit of music and a WSRN Sports X-Ray special, so stay tuned. We had our microphones out on the field again this week, and we're going to be bringing you taped interviews and information about the game, so stay tuned for that. I think you'll enjoy it. It'll give you a little more insight into what was going on in the field. And Frank will be back in about 8 minutes with the game. So a little. This is WSRN, Swarthmore College Radio, the voice of Swarthmore football, where you just heard the first half of the Haverford-Swarthmore game. At the end of the first half, the score is unfortunately Haverford 28 and Swarthmore 7. Hopefully we can do better in the second half. Meanwhile, we have a WSRN special. The WSRN microphones were out on the field again this week, and we've been interviewing some of the players. Now, if you notice, there was a fellow named Parecka plays for Haverford, and he made 3, I think, of the 4 touchdowns that Haverford managed to get during the first half. And we interviewed him. We decided to find out what the reason was that he's been running so well and making so many touchdowns for Haverford. Mike Halpern mentioned that Parecka isn't particularly fast, but he seems to be outclassing our defense. And one of the reasons we suspected was that the field is slippery and that cleats may not be the thing on a muddy field, and possibly that Parecka is wearing sneakers rather than cleats. So that we asked him about this, and our microphones were out on the field to ask him whether he was wearing sneakers and the like, and here's what he had to say.
I got on sneakers. See that? They make you run fast. You can run, stop on a dime. I give you 9 cents change. And I can keep running. You see these little rubber balls on the side there? Yeah, well, they keep me from making sparks, setting my pants on fire, because I run so fast, you know.
That was a WSRN Sports Special. We'll have one more interview before we go back to the game with Frank, but right now we have a little bit more football music. WSRN football music in preparation for the second half of the Haverford-Swarthmore game, which will be coming your way in just a few minutes. Frank Brown will be bringing that game to you from Haverford. We just had an interview with Mr. Pareca, one of the players for Haverford, and we have another interview right now. Well, not an interview, but an excerpt. The WSRN microphones this summer were at the first football practice of the year, and we have an excerpt from that we thought you might be interested in. As you know, the Swarthmore College football training camp is a terribly grueling exercise, and some people just can't make it. It's almost as tough as the Michigan State training camp, even though it's not as big. And our WSRN microphones were at the scene when Lou Elverson gave his first lecture to the new players, and we thought you might, now that the season's over, want to hear this. We weren't allowed to play it before the last game of the season because it was confidential, but now we're sure that everyone's allowed to hear it, and we'd like you to be the first to know about it.
Now I'm going to let you guys know what's going to happen here. I'm going to take you and I will work you until you drop, and then I will work you some more. You are nothing now, you are just a bunch of spineless hatefishes.
That was Lou Elverson's lecture, first lecture to the football team when they got here for spring training in, I guess, the end of August. And football on WSRN, Swarthmore College Radio, where you'll be hearing the second half of the Haverford-Swarthmore game in about 1 minute. Right now, we have a few words from a former Temple football star, Bob Cosby, or is it Bill Cosby? Can't see the record from here, so we'll listen, and then I'll tell you.
The water bottle, which is a great memory. We kept a water bottle in our refrigerator to drink ice water. And there's a funny thing about it. As long as somebody's in the house, you always go to the refrigerator, you pull out the water bottle, and you get a glass. And you drink out of the glass, see? But when nobody's home, you never do that. Go right to the refrigerator, pull it out, drink right out of the bottle, And my mother used to get so upset, man, whenever she catch me drinking. You drink out of the bottle? No, I didn't drink out of the bottle. I come there breadcrumbs in this water here. That kind of thing. So really great. And you never drink all of the water because you got to fill the bottle up. You leave about a quarter of an inch in there. Nobody touches it. Everybody dies of thirst, after that.
Bill Cosby, former Temple football star on WSRN. We're going to be taking you back to Frank Brown in about 25 seconds. I just thought I'd mention that when we played PMC and Hopkins, there were people on the teams from my high school. Well, this time it's even worse. Haverford College's quarterback was from my high school. Jan Sachs went to Haverford Township High School, and I went there too, so my high school is really doing a disservice to us this week. Last time when Hopkins beat us, it was the same situation, but this week it appears to be even worse. Now here's Frank.
Hello again, everyone. This is Frank Brown, along with Mike Halpern and Steve Melov, our statisticians at Walden Field at Haverford, where the halftime score is Haverford 28, Swarthmore 7. And we have some halftime statistics for you on this ball game. Swarthmore has completed 5 of 16 passes for 94 yards. Haverford 3 of 5 for 33 yards, and each team has 1 touchdown passing. Surprisingly, Swarthmore has 8 first downs and Haverford 5. Punting Somerton has punted for only a 28-yard average. Haverford has punted for a 31-yard average. In penalties, 5 yards against Swarthmore and 20 yards against Haverford, but saving the one with a big difference for last in rushing yardage. Swarthmore has 34. Haverford has 203 yards rushing in the first half. Sam Parecka has carried the ball 17 times for Haverford for 159 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's also intercepted a pass and run it down to the 7-yard line to set up the third of their 4 touchdowns. Swarthmore has reappeared on the field. They're at the far sideline. We're waiting for Haverford to come back on. It is now completely cleared up and the sun is out, so it's gotten colder. And now here comes Haverford, and a very lively and large crowd is going to be giving out a big roar as they come onto the field. Game, and at the moment Swarthmore, which has won the Hood Trophy for the last 11 years, is tied with Haverford 1-1, having lost cross country and won soccer this morning by a score of 2-0. The co-captains are again meeting out at the center of the field. Swarthmore this time will have the choice, and I would imagine that they will elect to receive, and they do. And Haverford will now be defending the goal to our right, and we'll be ready to go in just a moment.
No, Frank, I was thinking it would be nice if Dick Newman were around and run back to his kickoff. That's the sort of play that would really help.
Right, did you notice when Swarthmore came on the field had Dick Newman's leg low?
No, I didn't. Well, Dick is out on the team, receiving team. He's limping. Well, that's usual. So you really can't tell. He's out there.
Mike O'Neill dropping back for Swarthmore to receive, along with Bobby Clark, Craig Martin. That's reading right to left. Ball teed up for Haverford by number 74 Alcock. There's the whistle. The second half is underway. It's a high kick coming down to Martin at about the 15-yard line. Running to his left, looking for room. He goes past the 20-yard line and tackles very hard by number 74 Alcock, kicker. Also number 73. Still Haverford. Will be first and 10 Swarthmore from about the 31.
Frank, that's a rare kick coverage formation. You know, they have 6 men back 5 yards and then five up on the 40.
Farley splits out right to Swarthmore. Summerton back, looking around, and he's going to be thrown for a loss as he rolls to his left. Thrown back near the 25-yard line.
Their defense is tough again there. That's about a 8-yard loss out there, making it 2nd and 18.
Well, it's a bigger loss from that. It's back on the 23-yard line. Summers sets throws over the middle, intended for Cope, and it's incomplete.
Chip Burton is in now for the Garnet, making his first appearance of the afternoon. Chip has a very bad ankle. Was not expected to play. I believe he's in there at left halfback.
3rd and about 18 for Swarthmore. Summerton back to throw, looking around on the right side, throws it complete to number 83, Cope, and he's downed immediately at about the 33-yard line. And it will be 4th down in the punting situation for the Garnet. Bell and Sam Parecka back for Haverford to receive. They're standing around their own 25-yard line. Summerton drops back to punt. Gets past from center, gets the kick away, a high one. End over end, it's going to be taken by Batsell on about the 35-yard line, and he's down at about the 38 by Craig Martin.
Frank, we might spot the defense. Burns, Cope, and Somerton are the deep backs. Weinstein is at Ray Beck, I believe. Joe Kelly and Fred Montgomery, I think, are the linebackers.
1st and 10 for the Fords as they come to the line of scrimmage to 37. Sack. Ball signals. Pitches to Parecka trying to turn the left side and driven out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. At the 41. Pick up a Ford will be 2nd and 6.
Frank, I mentioned that the whole Garnet team is standing on the far sidelines. That's kind of rare at this point in the game, isn't it?
Yeah, I would think so. Maybe we're going to have some spirits that'll take us somewhere this half. John Lovin now in the middle of the defensive line as signals are called. Handoff goes to Steve Batsell and Farley. Gets him around the ankle, trips him up in the backfield for a loss of the 38-yard line. Loss of 3 yards.
Good teamwork by Farley and Fred Montgomery, the outside linebacker. Montgomery stacked up all the interference. Dexter looped in and knocked down the ball carrier. Very good defensive play by both of them.
This is the last game of the year. We might comment that Farley after football for the first time for Swarthmore has played very well all year. Very solid ball, offense and defense. He's the team's leading pass receiver. And one of the leading pass rushes. Now 3rd and 9 for Haverford in the 38-yard line. Sack call signals. Going back, pressure's put on, the ball is deflected by number 25, Weinstein, and it falls incomplete.
It's a very good rush by the Garnet as Andy and the tackle on that side both penetrated well and just kept pushing back.
Craig Martin deep for Swarthmore to receive the punt, takes it on the run at the 40-yard line, and comes forward to about the 43. Sam Parecka in on the tackle. Swarthmore to the line of scrimmage in zone 43, 1st and 10. Martin moves out to the right. Montgomery is the tight end on the right side. This time the Statue of Liberty play. Martin breaks into the open on the left sideline and goes into Haverford territory at about the 47-yard line. This time the play works. The last time they tried it, it was a fumble. And I think on that play that we could conceivably see a Martin option pass on that. He's good around that that side throwing lefty.
First and 10, Swarthmore.
Swarthmore at the Haverford 46-yard line, first and 10. Summerton calls signal, straight back to pass. Throws on the left side, complete to Cope. The 35 and down at the 31-yard line. Tackled by Steve Batzel.
Frank, the Garner was very effective with that sideline pattern to Taylor at the end of the half, as you remember. You know, he just button hook off to the sideline. We have a timeout here. Haverford called another timeout, as the Garnet is moving downfield very well.
11 minutes, 10 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Score here at Walton Field at Haverford is Haverford 28, Swarthmore 7, but the Garnet is moving the ball in Haverford territory. Yard line of Haverford. Swarthmore to the line very quickly as they run to the line. Summerton on a quick catch. Pumps one short. Throws out on the sideline. Craig Martin has it.
That's a Summerton pass to Clark.
Clark, rather. Clark goes down to the 25-yard line where he's driven out of bounds. John pumps once looking for Cope.
Frank, he's got a lot of room on the right side here. An awful lot of room. See what John does with it.
Summerton calls signals and hands off to Chip Burton. Or is that Clark? No, that's Clark into the line. And he goes forward to the 24-yard line, pickup of 1. Third down and long 3 for Swarthmore. Big play here. Summerton calls signal, hands to Martin, trying to turn the left side. He's got the first down. As he falls across the 20-yard line. Moves out to 19.
A hustling run by Craig as he just hurtled through a hole there around the left side and dove for that first down, and he got it. Good play. That's the same play that was stacked up many times in the first half. Again, Summerton has a lot of room to his right.
The ball is spotted down on the 20-yard line, first and 10. Summerton calls signals. Handing off to Clark. Goes over right guard on his delay and goes to about the 15-yard line where it will be second and 5. The line is now starting to open up some holes for the runners. Summerton calls signals, hands to March, trying to start one tackle. This time it's wrapped up immediately. Tackled by Larry Root. Also by number 5, Spencer Hipp.
I think, Frank, in this situation, we can look maybe for a pass to Fred Montgomery or the flanker back, Louis Taylor Cope on this play. They've been not paying too much attention to Montgomery, so let's see.
Fred is now splitting out to the right side. Martin goes into the slot. Summerton back to throw. Takes one, throws long on the left side. Complete for a touchdown to Taylor Cope. As he caught it in between two defenders, Steve Batzel and Ken Hicks. Very good catch by Cope.
Yes, John threaded the needle there as both Haverford defenders were right there. Taylor jumped and was facing John and caught the ball. And it was a very good pass completion. So the Garnet scores with about 8 3/4 minutes left in the third period. Here's the extra point try by McCurdy. Way will hold. Ball snapped high, placed down, it's kicked, it's up, and it is good. So the score is 28-14. Midway through the third period. Frank, the Garnet offense looked a lot sharper on that drive than they have in all game long. And it seemed like the execution was there. John hit on his passes, and the line seemed to be moving off the ball a lot better. So maybe they can come on. They made an announcement at halftime here. It said that there's a voluntary collection Tuesday here at Haverford where they'll show highlights of the Swarthmore Haverford football game, film highlights which they're taking during the game. And it'd be nice if they could see a few more good plays from Swarthmore during the second half. All right, McCurdy teed it up. He's going to kick off.
McCurdy kicks the ball high, end over end. It's going to be taken. Record fumbles it. Ball is loose and be recovered around the 31-yard line. Haverford has it. That was quite a fumble.
Yeah, that was a forward flying fumble of 15 yards, and I think most people were very surprised on the field and off the field. And break for the Fords that they recovered their own fumble.
I think that was Myers who recovered it. Correct. Trying to take it on the run, but bounced right on the chest. And it was forward about 15 yards. First and 10 to the Fords, 33. They got better yardage on that than they would have if Correct held the ball. Sack, ball signals, hands to Pareca, trying to break into the open. Good second effort, breaks the tackle by Beck, and goes through to about the 40 where Whiteside is on the stop along with 51 Buchanan. Ball is spotted now on the 39-yard line, second down 4 to go for Haverford.
Frank Sachs may come up with play over on the right side. I don't know. Let's see.
Colton signals he has sideline right, running into the left. Hand off. That's Bell, and this time he is backed up for a 1-yard loss. Stopped immediately by Buck Buchanan. It's a 1-yard loss, and it will be 3rd and 5.
4 yards, 4.5 yards, the first down to Haverford from their own 37-yard line. 38-yard line.
Frank, this is a big play for the defense. See if they can hold Haverford right after Garnett had scored a touchdown.
Okay, from the 38-yard line, 3rd down, 5 to go. Sack going back, rolling to his right, throws complete to Ken Hicks for the first down. He goes to the 45-yard line. You were right, they can work to the right side now. He was driven out immediately, but he got a first down by 2 yards.
Garnett played good defense on that. They were on Sachs and they were on the receiver, but they connected anyway for the first down. And Garnett has to go back to work. In this case here, again, they have isolation on Duffy Burns if they want it, if they split a man out to the left. We'll have to watch that. And they are. They're going to put Pareca out to the left. If you remember, this is the same type of situation that they scored on, except it was the left end.
Penny incomplete for a tackle for Haverford. Black ball signals, 2 coming for Gopner to Pareca. Bust forward to near midfield. Called the 49-yard line of Haverford. Will be 2nd down and 6 to go.
That's number 72 against the Pini for Haverford at left tackle now, making his first appearance.
Ford set at the 49. Garnet bench still standing. Yelling. As Sack ball signal, heads to Pareca. He has the running room and is finally brought down by Dexter Garley. Gets it from behind in Swarthmore territory for first down at the 43-yard line, 42-yard line.
Well, they've worked that play very well all day, and it just keeps on going.
Nice block by the Pini out there on that play, too.
Garnet defense must hold on this series.
Forward to the line of scrimmage on the Swarthmore 42. Steve Batzel splits out far to the left. Sack ball signals gives to Pete Batzel, and he stopped at about the 40-yard line and goes over right tackle. Barley and Blumberg is in.
2 yards, brother.
That'll make it a 2nd and 8 situation for Haverford for the 40. Clock continues to run with 5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter.
Frank, in this situation, they have been flanking Batzel out to the left and isolating him on Burns. I think at any time they can go to this pass on the sideline.
Well, they worked it once. Let's see. Batzel splits out to the left. Pareca rolling left, looking for him. Lost the pass out to the left side and incomplete. Off Batzel's hands, and Batzel is hurt.
On that play, Burns leaped in front of Batzel and it went off Duffy's chest. He had a good shot at the interception. Batzel is hurt on the play. He's shaken up. And he better sit down in a hurry. They're helping him off now. I think he landed wrong. And the Haverford and Swarthmore sides give him a good round of applause because he has played an excellent game. It's a third down situation here for Haverford.
John Gleason goes in now and splits out to the left. Plays with Steve Batzel. Sack. Call signals. Rolling out to his left. He's going to run for it. Gets outside of Weinstein. And is tackled finally by Plumberg. And Hellicoe. He's short of the first down by a couple of yards.
About 5 yards by touchdown play, make it about 34.
The ball is spotted down now at the 35-yard line.
Kicking down to Craig Martin, who's the ball.
They're going to punt as Martin receives to the Garnet. Punt comes away and is going out of bounds at about the 12 or 13, I believe. He was going for the coffin corner. Brought it out of bounds a little bit too soon, but Swarthmore still has it deep in his territory.
That's Peter Lester placing Steve Batzel in there at right cornerback for the Brewers.
John Summerton brings the team to the line of scrimmage here. Backfield shifts to the left. He calls signals. Goes back. Gives to Clark, and Clark finds room up the middle. Goes across the 15. Up close to the 20-yard line. Where it'll be second down and about 6.5 to go for the Garnet. Andy Weinstein has come into the backfield at fullback, replacing number 87, Dick Haynes.
Clock is running with 3 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Swarthmore to the line of scrimmage. Backfield shifts to the left for a change. Handoff goes to Craig Martin. Trying to find room to the left. Cuts inside, goes forward to... about the line of scrimmage. Maybe a gain of 1 and a flag goes down.
Frank, Chris King in at fullback for the Garnet. He's been sick, playing his last game. And he's in there. And let's see what the penalty is on the play. Martin did very well on that run. He was surrounded 5 yards back. They're talking to John Summerton now. Personal foul, pulling the face mask. So that's going to be 15 yards against the Fords from the spot of the foul. Heyman coming back in 14. They're talking with Summerton. And they're going to mark it off here.
Mike, during all this time, the scoreboard clock is running. Just ran off a minute while they were doing that penalty.
There's the foul, right in the face mask, what the call is. Second down and very short down to Swarthmore now.
Okay, Swarthmore now has second and about half a yard to go. That penalty is a big break for the backfield. Shifts right. Summerton back to throw. On the right side, he came in with a screen. He's got some room on the right sideline. And it's driven down by Pareca. And that's the first down, Swarthmore.
First down, Swarthmore, about their own...
Ball's on about the 33-yard line. And Mike, I think you might notice that Kamen doesn't seem to be able to touch it well on his run. First and 10, Swarthmore. Backfield. Ships left. Summerton calls signals. Takes the handoff to Martin. Throwing over the middle. Complete to Taylor Cope in midfield. Covered the ball. Covered by Haverford. They call incomplete. Called an incomplete. And the fans don't like it. So it will be second and 10 for Haverford, for Swarthmore at the Haverford 33-yard line. Summerton Back to pass, rolling to his left. Throws, and Bobby Clark has it at about the 40-yard line. Falls forward, fumbles the ball, and recovers it at about the 47-yard line.
Frank, that's a first down. I'll tell you, Bobby got hit very hard from the side. The ball popped out and hit the ground, and as Clark was falling, it just fell into his stomach and landed on it. So it's a first down for the Garnet as Somerson begins to hit on his passer.
First down from the 47-yard line. Going to the line of scrimmage. They got sideline left, running room right. Farley splits out right. Summerton rolls to the right. Pressure put on. He throws, complete to Kamen. Across midfield into Haverford territory and down to the 45-yard line.
Very good play by Dick as he leaned back for those 5 yards as 3 men were around him. Montgomery's come in for Farley, and number 80, Duffy Burns, has come in for Taylor Pope as flanker for the Garnet. The Haverford defense is loosening up considerably. They're playing for the pass because obviously the Garnet is going for the pass, but this may be giving Summerton that extra time to get rid of the ball.
Second and 3 for Swarthmore. 49. Intercepted. Up the sideline to midfield. To the 40-yard line of Swarthmore. And driven out of bounds inside around the 35. First and 10 Haverford.
Frank, on that play, Duffy Burns cut across. It was off his shoulder right to Lester. It was a good pass, and the Garnet had a good gain on the play, but it hit Burns' shoulder and bounced right back to Lester, and he ran it down the sideline where Kamen drove him out of bounds. A bad break for the Garnet.
First and 10 Haverford on the Swarthmore 35-yard line. Zach calls signals. Checks the defense. Hands off to Myers, trying to turn the corner, and he's going to be hit for a loss pass by Ray Beck. Also number tackle, Andy Weinstein. Clock is running with 40 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Haverford leads Swarthmore 28-14. Ball now spotted on the 36 of Swarthmore, second and 11 for scores. Zach checks his defense. They line up. He calls a signal. It's a long count. Straight back to throw. Fumbles the ball, and Swarthmore has recovered. And it's Ray Beck who falls on that loose ball. Swarthmore has it on about the 40-yard line, on about the 45-yard line of Swarthmore. Big break for the Garnet.
Frank, that happens to the quarterback sometime. He had it in his hand, just dropped it, ran away, and the Garnet was rushing very heavily on the play, covered the ball. So now the Garnet gets hold of the football, and the Swarthmore stands come to life.
They put a new dry football into play. First and 10 Swarthmore on the Swarthmore 45-yard line. Summerton sets over center, calls signals. Montgomery splits out to the right. Martin goes into the slot. Handoff goes to Clark up the middle on a delay, and he goes to about the 48-yard line. Tackle on the play by Jim Ritter.
Tackled by Jim Ritter out there. Third period.
Third quarter has now come to an end. At Haverford with a score. Haverford 28, Swarthmore 14. Swarthmore has the ball at the 48-yard line, so they don't have to move it very far.
Well, that's a long way to go. But Garnet has been looking a lot better. We'll see if they can keep this momentum up. John will have a lot of room to his left when play is resumed at the start of the fourth quarter. And that's his flanker side, and he's got Taylor Cope out there. It's also the side that Craig Martin can throw to, and he's got a lot of running room on the left. See, maybe they might try an option play, although so far they haven't even given a hint of it. But Garnet does need a big play. That could very well be it.
Garnet breaks to the line of scrimmage. Summerton sets, calls signals. Martin goes into the slot right. Summerton back to throw. Throws down the right side, incomplete to Dick Kamen. Goes into Haverford territory and then driven out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
Frank, that was a tremendous second effort by Kamen to stretch and reach that first down. He didn't have it, and he was hit, and he kept going, and Dick got that first down on his second effort.
Same as usual, playing good hard-nosed football. Swarthmore now 45 yards from the Haverford goal line. First and 10. Farley moves, splits that right to the right sideline. Cope splits left. Summerton throws. Bobby Clark has it as it goes off his hands, and he gets it again. And is tackled about 30.
This is WSRN, Swarthmore College Radio, the voice of Swarthmore football, where you just heard the first half of the Haverford-Swarthmore game. At the end of the first half, the score is unfortunately Haverford 28 and Swarthmore 7. Hopefully we can do better in the second half. Meanwhile, we have a WSRN special. The WSRN microphones were out on the field again this week, and we've been interviewing some of the players. Now, if you notice, there was a fellow named Pareka plays for Haverford, and he made 3, I think, of the 4 touchdowns that Haverford managed to get during the first half. And we interviewed him. We decided to find out what the reason was that he's been running so well and making so many touchdowns for Haverford. Mike Halpern mentioned that Pareka isn't particularly fast, but he seems to be outclassing our defense. And one of the reasons we suspected was that the field is slippery and that cleats may not be the thing on a muddy field, and possibly that Pareka is wearing sneakers rather than cleats. So that we asked him about this, and our microphones were out on the field to ask him whether he was wearing sneakers and the like, and here's what he had to say.
I got on sneakers. See that? They make you run fast. You can run, stop on a dime. I give you 9 cents change. And I can keep going. And you see these little rubber balls on the side there? Yeah, well, they keep me from making sparks, setting my pants on fire, because I run so fast, you know.
That was a WSRN sports special. We'll have one more interview before we go back to the game with Frank, but right now we have a little bit more football music. WSRN football music in preparation for the second half of the Haverford-Swarthmore game, which will be coming your way. in just a few minutes. Frank Brown will be bringing that game to you from Haverford. We just had an interview with Mr. Pareca, one of the players for Haverford, and we have another interview right now. Well, not an interview, but an excerpt. The WSRN microphones this summer were at the first football practice of the year, and we have an excerpt from that we thought you might be interested in. As you know, Swarthmore College football training camp is a terribly grueling exercise, and some people just can't make it. It's almost as tough as the Michigan State training camp, even though it's not as big. And our WSRN microphones were at the scene when Lou Elverson gave his first lecture to the new players, and we thought you might, now that the season's over, want to hear this. We weren't allowed to play it before the last game of the season because it was confidential, but now we're sure that everyone's allowed to hear it, and we'd like you to be the first to know about it.
Now I'm going to let you guys know what's going to happen here. I'm going to take you and I will work you until you drop, but then I will work you some more. You are nothing now, you are just a bunch of spineless hay fishes.
That was Lou Elverson's lecture, first lecture to the football team when they got here for spring training in, I guess, the end of August. Music and football on WSRN, Swarthmore College Radio, where you'll be hearing the second half of the Haverford-Swarthmore game in about 1 minute. Right now, we have a few words from a former Temple football star, Bob Cosby, or is it Bill Cosby? Can't see the record from here, so we'll listen and then I'll tell you.
A water bottle, which a great memory. We kept a water bottle in our refrigerator to drink from, drink ice water. And there's a funny thing about it. As long as somebody's in the house, you always go to the refrigerator, you pull out the water bottle, and you get a glass, and you drink out of the glass, see? But when nobody's home, you never do that. Go right to the refrigerator, pull it out, drink right out of the bottle, And my mother used to get so upset, man, whenever she'd catch me drinking. You drink out of the bottle? No, I didn't drink out of the bottle. I come there breadcrumbs in this water. That kind of thing. So really great. And you never drink all of the water because you got to fill the bottle up. You leave about a quarter of an inch in there. Nobody touches it. Everybody dies of thirst, after that.
Bill Cosby, former Temple football star on WSRN. We're going to be taking you back to Frank Brown in about 25 seconds. I just thought I'd mention that when we played PMC and Hopkins, there were people on the teams from my high school Well, this time it's even worse. Haverford College's quarterback was from my high school. Jan Sachs went to Haverford Township High School, and I went there too, so my high school is really doing a disservice to us this week. Last time when Hopkins beat us, it was the same situation, but this week it appears to be even worse. Now here's Frank.
Hello again, everyone. This is Frank Brown, along with Mike Halpern and Steve Melov, our statisticians at Walton Field at Haverford, where the halftime score is Haverford 28, Swarthmore 7. And we have some halftime statistics for you on this ball game. Swarthmore has completed 5 of 16 passes for 94 yards. Haverford 3 of 5 for 33 yards, and each team has 1 touchdown passing. Surprisingly, Swarthmore has 8 first downs and Haverford 5. Hunting Somerton has punted for only a 28-yard average. Haverford has punted for a 31-yard average. In penalties, 5 yards against Swarthmore and 20 yards against Haverford, but saving the one with a big difference for last in rushing yardage. Swarthmore has 34. Haverford has 203 yards rushing in the first half. Sam Parecka has carried the ball 17 times for Haverford for 159 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's also intercepted a pass and run it down to the 7-yard line to set up the third of their 4 touchdowns. Swarthmore has reappeared on the field. They're at the far sideline. We're waiting for Haverford to come back on. It is now completely cleared up, and the sun is out, so it's gotten colder. And now here comes Haverford, and a very lively and large crowd is going to be giving out a big roar as they come onto the field. Hood Trophy game, and at the moment Swarthmore, which has won the Hood Trophy for the last 11 years, is tied with Haverford 1-1, having lost cross country and won soccer this morning by a score of 2-0. The co-captains are again meeting out at the center of the field. Swarthmore this time will have the choice, and I would imagine that they will elect to receive, and they do. And Haverford will now be defending the goal to our right, and we'll be ready to go in just a moment.
No, Frank, I was thinking it would be nice if Dick Newman were around and run back his kickoff. That sort of play that would really help.
Right, did you notice when Swarthmore came on the field, had Dick Heyman's leg low?
No, I didn't. Well, Dick is out on the team, receiving team. He's limping. Well, that's usual. So you really can't tell. He's out there.
Mike O'Neill dropping back for Swarthmore to receive, along with Bobby Clark, Craig Martin. That's screening right to left. Ball teed up for Haverford by number 74, Alcock. There's the whistle, and the second half is underway. It's a high kick coming down to Martin at about the 15-yard line. Running to his left, looking for room. He goes past the 20-yard line and tackles very hard by number 74, Alcock, kicker. Also number 73. Still Hopkins. Will be first and 10 Swarthmore from about the 31.
Frank, that's a rare kick coverage formation. You know, they have 6 men back 5 yards and then five up on the 40.
splits out right for Swarthmore. Summerton back, looking around, and he's going to be thrown for a loss as he rolls to his left. Thrown back near the 25-yard line.
Four defense was up again, boy. That's about a 8-yard loss out there, making it 2nd and 18.
Well, the bigger loss on that is back on the 23-yard line. Summers sets throws over the middle, intended for Cope, and it's incomplete.
Chip Burton is in now for the Garnet, making his first appearance of the afternoon. Chip has a very bad ankle. Was not expected to play. I believe he's in there at left halfback.
3rd and about 18 for Swarthmore. Summerton back to throw, looking around on the right side, throws it complete to number 83, Cope, and he's downed immediately at about the 33-yard line. And it will be 4th down in a punting situation for the Garnet. Pastel and Sam Parecka back for Haverford to receive. They're standing around their own 25-yard line. Summerton drops back to punt, gets past the center, gets the kick away, a high one. End over end, it's going to be taken by Batzel on about the 35-yard line, and he's down at about the 38 by Craig Martin.
Frank, we might spot the defense. Burns, Cope, and Somerton are the deep backs. Weinstein, she's at Ray Beck, I believe. Joe Kelly and Fred Montgomery, I think, are the linebackers.
1st and 10 for the Forts as they come to the line of scrimmage to 37. Sack. Ball signals. Pitches to Parecka trying to turn the left side. And driven out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. At the 41. Pick up a Ford will be 2nd and 6.
Frank, I mentioned that the whole Garnet team is standing on the far sidelines. That's kind of rare at this point in the game, isn't it?
Yeah, I would think so. Maybe we're going to have some spirits that'll take us somewhere this half. John Lovin now in the middle of the defensive line as signals are called. Handoff goes to Batzel Farley. Gets him around the ankle, trips him up in the backfield for a loss of the 38-yard line. Loss of 3 yards.
That was good teamwork by Farley and Fred Montgomery, the outside linebacker. Montgomery stacked up all the interference. Dexter looped in and knocked down the ball carrier. Very good defensive play by both of them.
In this the last game of the year, we might comment that Farley out in football first time. Swarthmore's played very well all year. Very solid ball, offense and defense. He's the team's leading pass receiver. And one of the leading pass rushers. Now 3rd and 9 for Haverford in the 38-yard line. Sack, false signals. Going back, pressure's put on, the ball's deflected by number 25, Weinstein, and it falls incomplete.
A very good rush by the Garnet as Sandy and the tackle on that side both penetrated well and just kept pushing back.
Craig Martin deep for Swarthmore to receive the punt, takes it on the run about the 40-yard line, and comes forward to about the 43. Sam Parecka in on the tackle. Swarthmore to the line of scrimmage to the zone 43, 1st and 10. Martin moves out to the right. Montgomery is the tight end on the right side. This time it's back to Liberty play. Martin breaks into the open on the left sideline and goes into Haverford territory at about the 47-yard line. This time the play works. The last time they tried it was a fumble. And I think on that play that we could conceivably see a Martin option pass on that. He's good around that side throwing lefty. Swarthmore at the Haverford 46-yard line, 1st and 10. Summerton calls signal. Straight back to pass. Throws on the left side. Complete to Cope. The 35 and down at the 31-yard line. Tackled by Steve Batzel.
Frank, the Garner was very effective with that sideline pattern too, Taylor, at the end of the half, as you remember. You know, he just button hook off to the sideline. We have a timeout here. Haverford called another timeout as the Garnet is moving downfield very well.
11 minutes, 10 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Score here at Walton Field at Haverford is Haverford 28, Swarthmore 7, but the Garnet is moving the ball in Haverford territory. Yard line of Haverford. Swarthmore to the line of scrimmage very quickly as they run to the line of scrimmage. Summerton on a quick catch. Pumps one short. Throws out on the sideline. Craig Martin has it.
Okay, Summerton passed to Clark,
Clark rather. Clark goes down to the 25-yard line where he's driven out of bounds. John pumps once looking for Cope.
Frank, he's got a lot of room on the right side here. An awful lot of room. See what John does with it.
Summerton calls signals and hands off to Chip Burton. Or is that Clark? No, that's Clark into the line. And he goes forward to the 24-yard line, pickup of 1. Third down and long 3 for Swarthmore. Big play here. Summerton calls signals, hands to Martin, trying to turn the left side. He's got the first down. As he falls across the 20-yard line. And to about the 19.
A hustling run by Craig as he just hurtled through a hole there around the left side and he dove for that first down and he got it. Good play. That's the same play that was stacked up many times in the first half. Again, Summerton has a lot of room to his right.
Ball is spotted down on the 20-yard line, first and 10. Summerton calls signals. Handing off to Clark. Goes over right guard on a delay and goes to about the 15-yard line where it will be second and 5. The line is now starting to open up some holes for the runners. Summerton calls signals, hands to Mark, trying to turn left tackle. This time it's wrapped up immediately. Tackled by Larry Roop. Also by number 55, Spencer Hipp.
I think, Frank, in this situation, we can look maybe for a pass to Fred Montgomery or the flanker back with Taylor Cope on this play. They've been not paying too much attention to Montgomery, so let's see.
Brett is now splitting out to the right side. Martin goes into the slot. Summerton back to throw. Takes one, throws long on the left side. Complete for a touchdown to Taylor Cope. As he caught it in between two defenders, Steve Batzel and Ken Hicks. Very good catch by Cope.
Yes, John threaded the needle there. Both Haverford defenders were right there. Taylor jumped and was facing John and caught the ball. And it was very good pass completion. So the Garnet scores with about 8 3/4 minutes left in the third period. Here's the extra point try by McCurdy. Way will hold. Ball snapped high, it's placed down, it's kicked, it's up, and it is good. So the score is 28-14. Midway through the third period. Frank, the Garnet offense looked a lot sharper on that drive than they have in all game long. And it seemed like the execution was there. John hit on his passes, and the Lions seem to be moving off the ball a lot better. So maybe they can come on. they made an announcement at halftime here. It said that there's a voluntary collection Tuesday here at Haverford where they show highlights of the Swarthmore Haverford football game, film highlights which they're taking during the game. And it'd be nice if they could see a few more good plays from Swarthmore during the second half. All right, McCurdy teed it up. He's going to kick off.
Okay, Max. McCurdy kicks the ball high, end over end. It's going to be taken. Pareca fumbles it. Ball is loose, and he recovers around the 31-yard line. Haverford has it. That was quite a fumble.
Yeah, that was a forward flying fumble of 15 yards, and I think most people were pretty surprised on the field and off the field. And great for the Fords that they recovered their own fumble.
I think that was Myers who recovered. Pareca trying to take it on the run and bounce right off the chest. And it's forward about 15 yards. First and 10 for the Fords, 33. They got better yardage on that than they would have if Pareca held the ball. Sack call signals, hands to Pareca, trying to break into the open for second down. Breaks the tackle by Beck and goes forward to about the 40 where Weinstein is in on the stop along with 51 Buck Buchanan. The ball is spotted now on the 39-yard line. Second down, 4 to go for Haverford.
Frank Sachs may come up with play over on the right side. I don't know. Let's see.
Calls the signals he has sideline right and running into the left. Handoff. Batzell, and this time he is racked up for a 1-yard loss. Stopped immediately by Buck Buchanan. It's a 1-yard loss and it will be 3rd and 5.
4.5 yards for first down to Haverford from their own 37-yard line. 38-yard line.
Frank, this is a big play for the defense. See if they can hold Haverford right after Garnet had scored a touchdown.
Okay, from the 38-yard line, 3rd down, 5 to go. Sachs going back, rolling to his right, throws to the right, and it's complete to Ken Hicks for a first down. He goes to the 45-yard line. You were right, they can work the right side now. He was driven out immediately, but he got a first down by 2 yards.
Garnet played good defense on that. They were on Sachs and they were on the receiver, but they connected anyway for the first down. And Garnet has to go back to work. In this case here, again, they have isolation on Duffy Burns if they wanted. If they split a man out to the left, we'll have to watch that. And they are. They're going to put Pareca out to the left. If you remember, this is the same type of situation that they scored on, except it was a left end.
Trapani incomplete for a tackle for Haverford. Back ball signals, gives him a quick opener to Pareca. Busts forward to near midfield. Ball at the 49-yard line of Haverford will be 2nd down and 6 to go.
That's number 72, Vince Rapini for Haverford at left tackle now, making a first appearance.
Ford set at the 49. Garnet bench still standing, yelling. As Sachs calls signals, heads to Pareca. He has some running room and is finally brought down by Dexter Garley. Gets him from behind the Swarthmore territory for first down. At the 43-yard line, 42-yard line.
Well, they've worked that play very well all day, and it just keeps on going.
Nice block by Rapini out there on that play, too.
Garnet defense must hold on this series.
Forward to the line of scrimmage on the Swarthmore 42. Steve Batzell splits out far to the left. Sachs call signals, gives to Pete Batzell, and he stopped at about the 40-yard line and goes over right tackle. Farley and Blumberg in there.
2 yards, Bobby.
That'll make it a 2nd and 8 to push for Haverford from the 40.
Swarthmore territory.
Clock continues to run with 5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter.
Frank, in this situation, they have been flanking Batzell out to the left and isolating him on Burns. I think at any time they can go to this pass on the sideline.
Well, they worked it once. Let's see. Batzell splits out to the left. Pareca rolling left, looking for him. Lost the pass out to the left side and incomplete. Off Batzell's hands, and Batzell is hurt.
On that play, Burns leaps in front of Batsell, and it went off Duffy's chest. He had a good shot at the interception. Batsell is hurt on the play. He's shaken up, and he better sit down in a hurry. They're helping him off now. I think he landed wrong. And the Haverford and Swarthmore sides give him a good round of applause because he has played an excellent game. It's a third down situation here for Haverford.
John Gleason goes in now and puts out to the left. Plays with Steve Batsell. Sack. Call signals. Rolling out to his left. He's going to run for it. Gets outside of Weinstein. And is tackled finally by Blumberg. And Hellicoe. He's short of the first down by a couple of yards.
About 5 yards like that, make it about 34.
The ball is spotted down now at the 35-yard line.
Kicking down to Craig Martin beats the ball.
They're going to punt as Martin is deep for the Garnet. Punt comes away and is going out of bounds at about the 12 or 13, I believe. He was going for the coffin corner. Brought it out of bounds a little bit too soon, but Swarthmore still has deep in its territory.
That's Peter Lester placing Steve Batsell in there at right cornerback for the Bulls.
John Summerton brings the team to the line of scrimmage here. Backfield shifts to the left. He calls signals. Goes back. Gives to Clark, and Clark finds room up the middle. Goes across the 15. Up close to the 20-yard line. Where it'll be second down and about 6.5 to go for the Garnet. Andy Weinstein has come into the backfield at fullback, replacing number 87, Dick Kane.
Clock is running with 3 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Swarthmore to the line of scrimmage. Backfield. Shifts to the left for a change. Handoff goes to Craig Martin. Trying to find room to the left. Cuts inside, goes forward to...
That's Craig Martin, that's about the line of scrimmage.
About the line of scrimmage. Maybe a gain of one and a flag goes down.
Frank, it's Chris King in at fullback for the Garnet. He's been sick, playing his last game, and he's in there. And let's see what the penalty is on the play. Martin did very well on that run. He was surrounded 5 yards back. They're talking to John Summerton now. Personal foul, pulling the face mask. So that's going to be 15 yards against the Fords from the spot of the foul. Kamen coming back in for King. They're talking with Somerton. And they're going to mark it off here.
Mike, during all this time, the scoreboard clock is running. It just ran off a minute while they were doing that penalty.
Personal foul, right in the face mask, what the call is. Second down and very short yardage for Swarthmore now. Okay,
Swarthmore now has second and about half a yard to go. That penalty is a big break for the backfield. Shifts right. Summerton back to throw. On the right side, he came in with a screen. He's got some room on the right sideline. And it's driven down by Pareja. And that's a first down, Swarthmore.
The first down, Swarthmore, about their own...
Ball's on about the 33-yard line. And Mike, I think you might notice that Kamen doesn't seem to be able to touch too well on his play. First and 10, Swarthmore. Backfield. Shifts left. Summerton calls signals. Takes the handoff to Martin. Throwing over the middle. Complete to Taylor Cope at midfield. Fumble the ball. Recovered by Haverford. And they call incomplete. Called an incomplete. And the fans don't like it. So it will be second and 10 for Swarthmore at the Haverford 33-yard line. Summerton back to pass, rolling to his left. Throws, and Bobby Clark has it at about the 40-yard line. Ball forward, fumbles the ball, and recovers it at about the 47-yard line.
Frank, that's the first down. I'll tell you, Bobby got hit very hard from the side. And the ball popped out and hit the ground, and his Clark was falling. He just fell into his stomach and landed on it. So it's a first down for the Garnet as Somerson begins to hit on his passes.
First down from the 47-yard line. Garnet to the line of scrimmage. They got sideline left, running room right. Farley splits out right. Summerton rolls to the right. Pressure put on. He throws, complete to Kamen. Across midfield into Haverford territory and down to the 45-yard line.
Very good play by Dick as he leaned back for those 5 yards as 3 men were around him. Montgomery's come in for Farley, and number 80, Duffy Burns, has come in for Taylor Cope at flanker for the Garnet. The Haverford defense is loosening up considerably. They're playing for the pass because obviously the Garnet is going for the pass, but this may be giving Summerton that extra time to get rid of the ball.
Second and 3 for Swarthmore. 49. Intercepted. From the sideline to midfield to the 40-yard line of Swarthmore. It's driven out of bounds inside around the 35. First and 10 Haverford.
Frank, on that play, Duffy Burns cut across. It was off his shoulder right to Lester. It was a good pass, and the Garnet had a good gain on the play, but it hit Burns' shoulder and bounced right back to Lester, and he ran it down the sideline where Kamen drove him out of bounds. A bad break for the Garnet.
First and 10 Haverford on the Swarthmore 35-yard line. Zach calls signal. Checks the defense. Hands off to Myers, trying to turn the corner, and he's going to be hit for a loss by Ray Beck. Also on the tackle, Andy Weinstein. Clock is running with 40 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Haverford leads Swarthmore 28-14. Ball now spotted on the 36 of Swarthmore, 2nd and 11 for the Forward. Zach checks his defense as they line up. He calls a signal, it's a long count. Straight back to throw. Fumbles the ball, and Swarthmore has recovered. And it's Ray Beck who falls on that loose ball. Swarthmore has it on about the 40-yard line, on about the 45-yard line of Swarthmore. Big break for the Garnet.
Frank, that happens to quarterback sometimes. He had it in his hand, just dropped it, ran away, and the Garnet was rushing very heavily on the play, covered the ball. So now the Garnet gets a hold of the football, and the Swarthmore stands come to life.
They put a new dry football into play. First and 10 Swarthmore on the Swarthmore 45-yard line. Summerton steps over center, calls signals. Montgomery splits out to the right. Martin goes into the slot. Handoff goes to Clark up the middle on a delay. And he goes to about the 48-yard line. Tackle on the play by Jim Ritter.
Tackle by Jim Ritter out there. This is calling it the end of the third period.
Third quarter has now come to an end. At Haverford with a score. Haverford 28, Swarthmore 14. Swarthmore has the ball at the 48-yard line, so they don't have to move it very far.
Well, that's a long way to go. But Garnet has been looking a lot better. We'll see if they can keep this momentum up. John will have a lot of room to his left when play is resumed at the start of the fourth quarter. And that's his flanker side. He's got Taylor Cope out there. It's also the side that Craig Martin can throw to, and he's got a lot of running room on the left. We'll see, maybe they might try an option play, although so far they haven't even given a hint of it. But Garnet does need a big play. That could very well be it.
Garnet breaks to the line of scrimmage. Summerton sets, calls signals. Martin goes into the slot right. Summerton back to throw. Throws down the right side, incomplete to Dick Kamen. Goes into Haverford territory and is driven out of bounds at about the 45-yard line.
Frank, that was a tremendous second effort by Kamen to stretch and reach that first down. He didn't have it, and he was hit, and he kept going, and Dick got that first down on his second effort.
Same as usual, playing good hard-nosed football. Swarthmore now 45 yards from the Haverford goal line. First and 10. Farley moves, splits that right to the right sideline. Cope splits left. Summerton throws. Bobby Clark has it as it goes off his hands, and he gets it again. And is tackled at the 35-yard line. Tackled by,
Frank, number 51, Ed Sleeper, got his hand on it, tipped it up in the air, and Bobby caught it. And there was a big break for the Garnet. And another first down, a freak play.
Okay, it's on the 32-yard line. Now timeout is called by the official.
Timeout called by Haverford.
By Haverford. And that's quite a play. As Clark standing there waiting for it to come down after it went off Sleeper's hands, and he got it. Good break for Swarthmore, and they're going to need some of the breaks going for them. They've been going against for the last few games. 14 minutes remain to be played in this Hood Trophy football game. In this morning's soccer game, as we mentioned, Swarthmore won 2-0.
That's Alan Stokes going to the green now for Bill Bickley. Playing a fine defensive game out there, Billy.
For Haverford, Alan Stokes comes in replacing Bill Bickley, who is limping slightly as he comes off. Burns is now in as Swarthmore's flanker for this series.
During this timeout, Somerton's been over talking with Coach Lou Alverson, and we'll see what the coach's strategy is. I would think John will continue to go to the air. That's what he has done, and so far he's been picking his spots very well.
Swarthmore to the line of scrimmage. The Haverford 32. Summerton set over center, checks the defense. Farley splits out right. Burns split left. Summerton rolling right. Rolling right. Pressure put on. He throws down the right sideline, incomplete, underthrown, intended for Farley, and a good rush is put on Summerton. He did well to avoid a loss on that one.
Good play by John. Chip Burton now is back in for the Garnet. He's replacing Bobby Clark. And let's see what Chip can do here.
Quaker Yell comes up from the Swarthmore sideline to the far side of the field. There's a pretty good Swarthmore contingent on hand. Summerton set at the 32-yard line. Second and 10. Long pass. Going back. Pitches to Chip Burton. He's going to throw the option pass. It's almost intercepted. Incomplete. Intended for Fred Montgomery. Broken up by John Gleason.
John Gleason broke that play after the forward.
I think Chip was in for just that one toss as Bobby Clark comes back in at halfback.
Burns flips to the left. Farley to the right. Summerton rolling right. Throws. And Farley incomplete. No, intercepted rather by Kenny Hicks at the goal line, and he runs it up to near the 10-yard line. And Haverford takes over, having ended the Swarthmore drive.
In that case, Burns had beaten his initial man, but had another secondary man cutting across, and he made the interception. Chris King comes into the defensive linebacking group, replacing number 63, Joe Kelly.
Okay, the yard line is not dependent. It's 20. First and 10, Haverford. Sack. Call signals. 10 to tailback, I believe, Pareca. Goes over right tackle for a yard or so. It was Pareca tackled by Farley.
Second and 8 for the Bears.
Give them 2 yards. It's second and 8 for Haverford from their own 22-yard line.
This is where the defense has to hold because the Garnet needs the football because there's not that much time left in this football game.
Here comes the four coming out, second and 8 now. John Gleason out here on the side.
Sack set, looks over the defense, goes back, and to
That's little Sammy again, cutting to the Swarthmore line.
Pareca again. On a delay, Pareca goes forward only to about the line of scrimmage for a gain of 1.
2 in that play for Tammy. And the third down and 6.
So it will be third and about 6.5 to go from the 23.5.
See whether Zach has an interesting call here, whether he'll go to the air or he'll stay on the ground and keep eating up time. He has room on the left sideline now if he wants to pass.
Haverford set at the line of scrimmage. Zach going back, rolling right tackle for a big loss by Fred Montgomery, who gets him around the ankle.
Dan Saxton was pulled down and brought back the pass by Montgomery for Swarthmore.
He lost about 8 or 9 yards. And so they are going to have to punt from very deep in their territory.
Some fine play by Fred. He flew in, he took a gamble, he just went straight in, kept on applying the pressure, and he got sacked. Very good play by Montgomery. Craig Martin is back in single safety here. High pass from center, gets it away. Good kick. Craig takes it on around the 40, jiggers around, and finally is down around the 35 as near as I can tell, Frank. Gleason and number 53, Tom Birdsell, made the tackle in the middle of the field.
Ball's the 34-yard line, first and 10 for Swarthmore. They have great field position, and they need to score now with about 11 minutes, 35 seconds remaining to be played in the ballgame. 28 for Haverford, 14 for Swarthmore. Backfield tips left. Clark goes into the slot left. Summerton fakes the handoff to Mark and throws the ball. Lost the ball. It might be led. It's being led. That's the Swarthmore 45-yard line. Big rush put on Summerton. They wouldn't let him go down. They kept driving him backwards to the leg. He walked to the ball, pulled it away from Summerton, finally tackled at the 45-yard line of Swarthmore. First and 10 up to the 46. They're going to call time, but that one has got to hurt because they lost great field position, Mike.
No question about that. And there's not much you can say. They stole the ball from the quarterback. But it was a very big play. It did have very good field position, as you said. And now Haverford has the ball up over midfield. And Garnet is now in a hole, definitely. Dick Heyman has come into the defensive lineup in place of Andy Weinstein.
Haverford's co-captain Jim Ritter comes out, replaced by Frank Santoro. And we'll be ready to go in a moment. Swarthmore's defense has done pretty well in the second half. But they've got an awful lot of work to have to do if the offense is going to do its share. So now the Force have it in good field position. First and 10 at the 46. Sack calls and signals. Long count. He keeps it himself and he's tripped up at the 49-yard line by Dick Heyman.
Lost about 3 yards in the play, make it second and 13 for the Force.
Joe Kelly comes in to replace Kamen now in the defensive backfield. And Chris King goes out also. Somebody else, Andy Weinstein came in also.
That play not only lost 3 yards, but moved the ball from the left sideline to the center of the field. Now Zach calls and signals. Blumberg is drawn offside. Flags go down. Handoff goes to Pastel. Goes over right tackle for 2 yards. Where Fred Montgomery stops him, but I believe they're going to call an offside on that one.
And that's the second down and about 9 for the
Offside ball to Blumberg charges him, and that brings the ball to the 44-yard line, where it will be second and 8. To the line of scrimmage, the 44-yard line of Swarthmore, second and 8. Sack, ball signal, in motion to the left from Steve Batzel. Sack going back, throws, and it's Broken up very nicely by John Summerton, attendance for Ken Hicks on the right sideline around the 30.
John made a good play. The Garnet had a big rush on, but Sachs had his man, but Summerton runs in front and stopped the completion. Third down now. The Garnet, every down, they just have to hold here because time is becoming important. It's about 10 and a half minutes to go in the football game. 2 touchdowns down.
3rd and 8 from the 44. Steve Batzel splits out to the right side. The ball in the middle of the field. Sachs calls signal. Hands off to Jeff Myers. Got running room as he goes to the first down. He goes to the 35-yard line of Swarthmore. Langstein finally brings it down.
Chris King comes in for Joe Kelly, linebacker, and there was a good call by Sachs. He called the draw, and it worked as the Garnet was blowing in a little too hard.
Haverford moving. They have the ball on the 35 of Swarthmore, 1st and 10. Steve Batzel again splits out to the right side as Sachs calls the signals. He hands to Parecka, and he's tripped up in the backfield by Dexter Farley, who's right there waiting for him. Ray Beck also in there on the tackle. Lost the one. It's 2nd and 11.
Take a second down, a little over 10 yards.
That was an excellent defensive play by Farley. He was standing right there in the Haverford backfield.
I think Frank Sachs may go to the air here. He's been staying on the ground. Obviously, it eats up time, but he's got 11 yards, and I think the Garnet is looking for the running play so far.
36-yard line. Sachs goes back, hands to Parecka, and he's tripped up by Beck, and then Farley falls on him again.
On that play, Frank, Andy Weinstein, the linebacker on that side, caught the draw very well and slowed up the ball carrier so that the others fall on him. It was a good diagnosis by Andy at right corner linebacker. So it's 3rd down, another big play. See if the Garnet can hold.
Timeout is called. There was a loss of 1 on that one, so it's 3rd and 12 for the Forest.
Frank, Haverford's called 3 timeouts so far this half. How many do they have in it? You know?
No, I don't.
All right, well, I think they used them all up. We'll see.
Sachs comes up to the sideline to speak to the Haverford coach, Dana Swan, who is Swarthmore, class of 58, we might mention. And we'll see what kind of play he comes up with to try to sink his alma mater. We have 8 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in this Foot Trophy football game, which you're hearing on WSRN, Swarthmore College Radio, the voice of the Garnet on the road. Haverford to the line of scrimmage, Swarthmore, 37. Sachs call signals. Again, Steve Batzel split out right almost to the sideline. Handoff goes to Parecka, who is pushed back at the 35-yard line by Chris King. Give him a 3-yard pickup to the 34, where it will be 4th and 9. Sachs comes out, Steve Lesh comes in, and they're going to punt. The kick is away and going to be taken on the 3-yard line by Martin. Goes to the right sideline to the 10 and brought down at about the 12-yard line by Jeff Myers.
Nice punt there, 4th and 12, keep them in their own territory. 4th and 10 Swarthmore for their own about 13-yard line.
Well, we got a long way to go. See what John calls here. I think he has to go to the air. Just doesn't have enough time with under 8 minutes to go.
Came in as the fullback, Clark and Martin in at halfback. Summerton calls signals, going back. Steve putting on a good rush on a safety blitz. Throws the screen. Incomplete, and heading for Clark, and I think there should have been pass interference, but the ref didn't call it. There was a safety blitz on him now by Steve Lesh, who almost got Summerton.
They tried that earlier, Frank, and And that leaves someplace open if John can get rid of that ball fast enough, because it is a gamble. Taylor Cope has come in at flanker for Duffy Burns.
2nd and 10 from about the 15-yard line. Cope flips to the left. Summerton goes back, looking for Cope. He's throwing the bomb, and Taylor misses it, incomplete, in and out of his hands at midfield. Defense don't bring it up, but Taylor might have had that one. So it's 3rd and 10 for Swarthmore from about the 15.
On these long passes, if John could pump that and have somebody cutting underneath, and I know they do have patterns for that, he could get long yardage because they're looking for the bomb.
Okay, from the 15, Summerton sets backfield to the left. And the handoff goes to Craig Martin, who throws the option around the left side. Duffy Burns has it and goes out of bounds with a first down at the 33-yard line. 33-yard line. 1st and 10, Swarthmore. There was the option.
Yeah, Craig lofted it in there. It was well timed. A good play.
Now Burns out, Cope in, sideline left, running room right, Cope flank almost to the sideline. Summerton straight back to pass, throwing to Taylor, who has it and is tackled immediately by Steve Mansell.
Summerton is trying to coach.
Burns the first down, I believe he has the first down. It's on the 44-yard line, 10 Swarthmore. When they line it up, we're again going to have sideline to the left. Cope off and Burns in.
Frank, if you remember that pattern to Craig in the right flat, this would be a very good time for John to try it again. That one he overshot at the end of the half.
Dexter Farley splits out to the right side. Summerton straight back. Throws and is complete to Dexter Farley at about the 43-yard line of Haverford, who is driven out of bounds by Gleason, and that's another first down Swarthmore. Summerton is starting to hit.
Garnett flooded the right flat on that, and he hit his deep man Farley for the first down. Garnett beginning to move from deep in their own territory. They're now in Haverford territory.
1st and 10, 44 yards away from the goal line. They break to the line of scrimmage. Summerton calls signals. They're sideline right, running room left. John goes back, rolling right, throws down the right side, and it's intercepted by Caracas. And that's the 30-yard line, coming all the way over to the right, looking for running room, and he is driven out of bounds near midfield by Eric Blumberg. But the ball is on the 49-yard line of Swarthmore, and another threat dive.
Again, John threw it to the defensive back, and there weren't too many Swarthmore jerseys around that thought. But there was pressure on him, but those interceptions all day long have killed the Garnet. Now the defense has to dig in once more.
6 minutes left in the game. Haverford has a 1st and 10 from the 49-yard line of Swarthmore. Sack. Call signal. Hands off to Pete Mansell. He rushes across the middle and goes to the 43-yard line of Swarthmore. Pick up a 6 on a quick opener. 2nd and 4 for the Fords. The Haverford stands, as you can tell, coming to life. The clock is moving. 5.5 minutes left in the game. The Fords break to the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 4 from the 43. Sack, looking over the defense. He calls the signals. Handoff goes to Sam Pareka over left tackle and goes near the first down to pick up a 3 to the 40. Tackled by Chris King, and it will be 3rd and a short one for Haverford.
Tell these benches, time out for measurement is what it is, folks.
Well, they are measuring, and it's short by about 1.5 feet. So 3rd down half a yard for Haverford from the Swarthmore 40-yard line. With 5 minutes remaining in this football game. Report to the line of scrimmage. The quarterback sneaks, and he has the first down. He picks up 1 yard. First and 10 Haverford from the Swarthmore 39.
Going right over Joe Dodge, another fine senior center out there, folks.
Forward to the line of scrimmage at the 39. First and 10. Sack. Checks the defense. Ball signals. Hands off the tailback Batzell. He runs forward to about the 36-yard line. We're to pick up a 3-yard 2nd and 7. Tackled by the middle of the Swarthmore line.
All these running plays, Frank, are eating up time as we're down to about 4 minutes remaining in the football game. There should be a 4-minute warning very soon. And it appears right now Haverford's got this game locked up.
Sack at the line of scrimmage, calling signals, the long count. Handoff goes to Pareca. Fights forward across the 35-yard line, goes to about the 33. Tackled by Eric Blumberg. But it will be 3rd down for the Ford and have 4 to go. Clock is stopped now with 4 minutes left in the ball game. Forward to the line of scrimmage. 32.5-yard line. Sack. Checks the defense. Flips over. Steve Batzell splits out to the right. Throw intended for Ken Hick. Incomplete over the middle. Chris King and Ray Beck defending on the play.
Make a 3rd down and 4 for the Ford.
Supposed to bring up a punting situation, and Craig Martin drops back and sinks the safety for the Garnet. 4 minutes left in the football game, and the Garnet now will
4 minutes.
probably get the
4 minutes
football.
left in the football game, folks.
The Ford breaks in the huddle at the 32-yard line.
They're going to go for it.
Ford's are going for it.
And Steve Batzell splits to the right. Sack hands to Pete Batzell, trying to drive forward. He stops short of the first down at the 30-yard line.
Make a 3rd
Swarthmore
and 10
takes
for Swarthmore
over.
at their own 30-yard line. With the clock running and 4 minutes or less in the game.
Garnet is going to have Okay, Summerton set. Going back, it's intercepted. Intercepted by Sam Pareca. 3rd interception of the day for Pareca, and he goes out of bounds at about the 30-yard line. Ball's on the 33, actually.
Well, that should do it. As Pareca is the hero of the hour, as you might be able to hear. They're yelling Sam. And he's done a tremendous job here this afternoon for Haverford.
Zach hands the ball to Pete Batzell, and he goes to the 30-yard line. Gain of 3.5 on the play. Stay forward, it'll be 2nd and 6 from the 30. 2.5 minutes remain in this ball game. From the 30, 2nd down for Haverford. Zach hands the ball Pareca drives forward for about 4 yards. To the 26. A call to 27, and it will be 3rd down and 3 to go.
Third down, about 5 yards to go for Haverford.
Now Haverford to the line of scrimmage at the 28-yard line. 3rd down, sack, call signal. Steve Betzel splits right whistle slow, and I think they're going to call him for delay of the game.
Clock is 5 yards. Make a 3rd down, about 10 yards to go. There's Cooper going back in the
And that'll make it 3rd and 8.
That's on the 72 for Haverford.
Well, we just have about 2.5 minutes to go in the game. Haverford is eating up time as they have a 2-touchdown lead, and they have the ball, and they probably have the game too. The Garnet has been neglecting the right halfback. That cell has been out on the right side. We'll see whether Sachs might not go to him in this situation.
Calls the signal, gives it to Pareca. He goes around the left side and goes across the 30-yard line to about the 28, where it will be 4th down for the Fords. 4th and about 4. We have, according to the scoreboard clock, 2 minutes remaining in the football game. Haverford leads 28-14. Fords going for it on 4th and 4 from the 28-yard line. Sachs hands to Betzel trying to drive forward, and I believe he is stopped short at the first down at about the 25. Swarthmore takes over, calls timeout. With 1:40 remaining. Time is running out for the Garnet.
Round of applause you heard was for the seniors who were playing their last game for Haverford, and they've done a well job today. The crowd showed its appreciation. They had a very rough season. They come on the last 2 games and really shown that they have a lot of character. They come on to win the last 2 games after, what was it, 5 stunning defeats in a row. And says a lot for the spirit of the team and for some very fine coaching and keeping that spirit going.
Swarthmore to the line of scrimmage at the 26-yard line. Summerton calls signal, straight back to throw. Rush put on, he's throwing over the middle, complete to Taylor Cope. Angling for the sideline. He's up to about midfield, and he goes down on the far right sideline, tackled by Pareca.
20 yards out there, 25 yards. Just over the midpoint.
Ball's on the 48-yard line of Swarthmore, 1st and 10.
Let's take the hit coming out of the game, folks.
I'd say that Taylor Cope has played a tremendous season at flanker and also especially on defense. He's been a very good 2-way performer for the Garnet, and that catch was a good example. He caught, I think, 5, 6, 7 passes this afternoon. Some of those sideline ones and a long touchdown one in the first half. And a touchdown in the second half. That's 2 touchdowns for Taylor.
That's right. They're set at the 48-yard line. Burns splits out left. Summerton throws on the right side. Overthrown intended for Farley at about the Haverford 45-yard line. That'll make it 2nd and 10.
2nd and 10 off just the
Minute 25 rather, unofficially remain in this ball game. Summerton set at the line of scrimmage, calls signals, goes back, rolls to his left, throws long on the left side, intended for Cope, incomplete. At about the 40-yard line.
I'll make a 3rd down for
with a secondary of 6 or 7 men, it's very difficult to get anybody free out there. I think John will have to go for shorter passes and hope they can get some running room because Haverford is spread all over the field.
3rd and 10 from the 48-yard line. Sideline right, running room left. Montgomery puts out to the right side. John goes straight back to pass. Throws for Dick Kamen on the right sideline, and he goes out of bounds at about the 45-yard line. Called the 46 of Haverford. That'll make it 4th down as he's short of the first down by about 3.5 yards.
Big defensive play out here coming up.
Swarthmore set at the 45-yard line. They go into punt formation. Flags go down.
Flag number 73, Bill Hobson, when they switched into sort of shotgun formation, went offside. He's really mad. He just tore his shin strap off. And he made contact, and it's a 5-yard offside penalty against Haverford. That gives the Garnet the first down. And, boy, he really popped across there when they shifted. And so the Garnet gets another chance here.
1st and 10 for the Garnet. Sideline right, running room left again. They go to the shotgun formation. Passes back to Somerton. Good rush put on. Flags go down. John throws across the middle. Incomplete, intended for Cope. We're looking for a signal. Penalty seems to be on Swarthmore. The officials talking to Haverford.
Offside against the Garnet, and obviously the Fords didn't take it. They're playing on down here, and there's not much time left.
2nd down for Swarthmore, 10 yards to go from the 41-yard line of Haverford. Still sideline to the right. Warren to the left. Burns splits left. Montgomery splits right. Somerton into the shotgun formation. Keeps it across the middle, complete to Fred Montgomery. And he's down around the 15-yard line, well around the 20-yard line. Timeout is called at the first down for Swarthmore, 58 seconds remaining.
John really drilled that to Fred as he ran a slant pattern over the middle. It's a good catch and very good pass completion.
We're going to have to go 2 ways out there today. TV back south, Randy Pareca, Larry Roos,
I
Jimmy
think
Ritter,
Frank,
Joe Gibson before. It's a tough thing to play 60 minutes of football, boy.
I don't know where that ball is exactly. I can't pinpoint it either.
I don't know, I would say about the 20.
All right, the Garnet has room on the left side for passing. Let's see what John Somerton calls.
Again, they shift into shotgun formation. Cope now split to the left. Pass goes to Somerton. Throws long, intended for Cope, incomplete.
Incomplete pass. The flag's out. Hit the penalty.
Covered on the play by John Gleason, and a flag is down.
Hope you folks are enjoying this game today, because I sure am, boy.
There's an offsides on the Garnet as one of the ball players got downfield too quickly. It's declined by Haverford, so it's 2nd down, 10 yards to go on the 20. We're in the final minute, I believe. The scoreboard clock is unofficial, so it's hard to say how much time is left, but I think it is the last minute. Garnet, 2nd and 10. Somerton bends over center, goes into that deep shotgun formation with a backfield to the right. John looks, throws to Cope. He had it in his hands and dropped it about the 10-yard line, cutting across the middle, so it's incomplete to be 3rd down. 3rd and 10 for the Garnet around the 20-yard line. As the 67 season is just about over. Garnet behind 28-14. Will finish the season with a 3-5 mark. Summerton brings the team to the line of scrimmage. Again, they go into that shotgun formation. Summerton goes back to pass, looks to the sideline, throws, and it's complete to Craig Martin, who is tied up by Pareca on the far sideline. Let's see, is that the end of the football game? Yes, it is. That ends it. And the Haverford team has won 28-14 over the Garnet here in the Hood Trophy game. A very happy bunch of Haverford fans and players, as it is a tremendous victory for them over the Garnet. And Frank, do you have any final statistics?
Well, the first half score was 28-7. The final score is 28-14. The one touchdown scored by Swarthmore, the one second half touchdown scored by Swarthmore with 8:45 remaining in the third quarter, as Taylor Cope caught a 24-yard pass from John Sumner, and Dick McCurdy kicked the extra point. That was a 57-yard drive in 7 plays. And the first half touchdown was a 60-yard bomb, Summerton to Cope. But Swarthmore has lost 28-14 and closed out the season at 3-5. Haverford closed out at 2-5, and in the competition for the Hood Trophy, which has become almost a perennial possession of Swarthmore, Haverford now leads 2-1, winning in the fall sports cross country and football, losing soccer this morning 2-0.
I think we might just mention that Sam Pareca played a tremendous football game, both on defense with 3 interceptions. On offense, I know he gained over 200 yards on the ground and scored, 2 touchdowns?
Yeah, that's right. Set up another.
And, well, it was one of the best individual performances we've seen this season or any season. And we're sort of sorry the Garnet had to end with a defeat. But better team won today, although the Garnet did play better ball in the second half.
Okay, I guess that just about wraps it up. WSRN, and Mike and I especially, have been very, very happy to be bringing you all Swarthmore away football this year. And WSRN will be back next year, but we won't. We hope you'll be listening in then. Right now, for Mike Halpern, we'd like to thank our statistician, Steve Melov, and we'd like to thank Vera Grant helping run the controls here. And now this is Frank Brown saying so long from Haverford. Once again, the final score in this Hood Trophy football game, Haverford 28, Swarthmore 14. This has been a WSRN Sports presentation.
Heard another WSRN sports presentation. A football game between Haverford and Swarthmore, unfortunately lost by Swarthmore 28-14. In a happier vein, we just might note that the soccer team beat Haverford this morning 2-0, so that Haverford Day was kind of a split, with Haverford losing in soccer and Swarthmore losing in football. A little more music, and then WSRN will leave the air. A little football music, although after that loss I'm not sure you'll be in the mood for it, but football music anyway. WSRN, Swarthmore College Radio, where you've just heard broadcast of the game between Haverford and Swarthmore. Haverford won that game 28-14. Swarthmore won the soccer game this morning 2-0. WSRN is now going to leave the air. This is WSRN, Swarthmore College Radio, 640 on your AM dial. To carry your current voice of Swarthmore College. You might be interested in listening to our regular programming and also to the basketball broadcasts as they become available. This is WSRN, Swarthmore College Radio, now leaving the air.